We are in the shadows of the mighty and majestic, rugged, rounded shoulders of the Wasatch Mountains for the BCA Classic. This year, featuring Conference USA against the Mountain West Conference. It's BYU and the Green Wave, and here comes the guys out of the Bayou country in New Orleans. Hello, everybody. I'm Mark Jones, along with Todd Christensen. Hey, welcome to Provo, Utah. You know, it's not often that you get a chance to witness history, mark history, distinguish history, and punctuate it, too. But that's what today is all about. For 29 years, Lavelle Edwards was a monument to everything that was good about college football. But he's no longer the coach here, Todd. And as a former player, what's going on in Crowton's mind?
You know, it sounded very strange. I'm glad you asked that, because earlier when the public address announcer said head coach of the Brigham Young Cougars, Gary Crowton, it sounded very, very strange. What's going through his mind is, let's get this on. Enough preparation, enough commercials, enough articles. Let's actually play football. That's the reason Gary Crowton is here, is because his expertise in the passing game. Speaking of passing game, Tulane very, very good at the passing game, led by quarterback Patrick Ramsey, one of the top returning quarterbacks in the country this year. He threw it 46 times a game last season. A terrific athlete, a young man with a 3.56 grade point average. And over the last 4 games of the season, he really turned it on. 1,350 yards and 14 touchdowns. Of course, the people here are used to great quarterback play here at Brigham Young University, but maybe they're not used to seeing it on the other side of the ball. Yeah, just a little bit odd for the denizens here at Lavelle Edwards Stadium, as here come the BYU Cougars, kicking off a new era in football here in Provo. Right now, we're going to kick it back to the studio with Reese and Rod. Fellas.
Mark, thank you very much. We are glad it's here. It's awfully early. We've got a half-dozen games this weekend to get started, Rod. What are some of the problems with playing so early in the season?
Well, normally you worry about injuries, but really right now, what kind of shape are the players in? Because of the off-season conditioning issues and because of the weather, you get concerned about, are they in tip-top shape? Are they ready for this? We've already seen a couple of players pull muscles in games earlier today.
Yeah, 2 teams are now for their conditioning. TCU and Nebraska going at it in the Pigskin Classic in Lincoln. The Horned Frogs, of course, lost 14 starters from last year. Eric Crouch needs an eye back as a weapon. Thunder Road.
Oh, they may have found a little thunder. He's got a little lightning speed to the outside there. Nebraska picking up yardage there, but the offensive line did struggle today, Reese.
Thunder Collins had 71 yards, scored a couple of times, nearly doubled his career rushing output. Nebraska wins at 21-7. You mentioned a couple of guys coming up gimpy. Casey Prenters pulled a muscle, and that hampered the TCU offense a bit. Virginia and Wisconsin playing in the Eddie Robinson Classic. Badgers on top 13-3. Antoine Womack, who led the ACC in rushing last year, was carried off the field with an apparent knee injury. No word on how serious that is just yet, after he had a long touchdown call back. Here is the man who will follow the man at BYU, Gary Crowton, getting set to lead the Cougars against the Green Wave when we come back.
Do you want the gig then?
Rockstar, rated R. Starts September 7th at a theater near you.
You used all your quarters up in a payphone, didn't you? Next time, dial down the center with 1-800-CALLATT. It's free for you and cheap for them. By the way, this one's hot.
Save big bucks on every call. Just dial 1-800-CALL-ATT for collect calls.
Big stuff is going on here at 7-Eleven. It's the new Big Sub Combo. Choose an Italian Big Sub sandwich. 3 kinds of meat and provolone cheese. Or smoked turkey with Swiss. Plus a big gulp and a big grab of chips. It's a bigger, better summer.
And welcome back, everyone, to Provo, Utah. It's Tulane against BYU, the beginning of a new era in Cougar football. And speaking of the new coach, Dave Ryan is standing by with him downstairs. Dave?
Mark, November 21st, 1971, the last time someone other than Lavelle Edwards was on these sidelines. Gary Crowton, day 1 of your era today. What are the nerves like? What are you feeling like right now?
Well, I'm excited. I think we're ready to go, and I'm anxious for the game to get started.
Lavelle Edwards had an incredible reputation, 29 years, all those wins. How do you put your footprint, your personal footprint on this program?
Right now, all I'm going to do is concentrate on one segment at a time. Right now, we're ready to go, and I'm just going to relax and play the game if I can do it, and have some fun out here.
Good luck, guys. He grew up in Orem, Utah, just a few miles north. Never played at BYU. Had a dream of doing that. Now he's got a chance to coach here today against Tulane.
All right, Dave, and a lot of family members of Coach Crowton's has have passed through the program here for the Cougars. BYU won the toss, electing to defer. As we look at the game conditions, a picture perfect, 91 degrees, low humidity. But look at the bottom line there. We are at 4,500 plus feet, folks, and that could have an effect on the green wave. Moore 3 yards deep. A flag down back at the 7-yard line. Mwelde Moore, the team starting tailback, brought down to the 13.
Look like
Brent Carlson.
It can look like a block in the back, and this is going to be some bad field position for the Green Wave to begin this game. You know, I was entertained by the comments that Dave had. And first of all, I've got to give Dave a lot of credit. He's got the head coach right at game time. That's pretty cool. But certainly he's been overdoing it up to this point as we take a look at Patrick Ramsey, the terrific quarterback for Tulane, 6'3", 234-pounder. Coach Selfo points out the fact that this is not one of the really great athletes, but he's a great thrower, a tough guy that stands in the pocket and can take a hit.
Yeah, finished last season, Todd, on a big-time role. Here's a look at the guys behind him at the skill positions. Mwelde Moore, the Conference USA Freshman of the Year last season.
Terrific one, and they're looking for Roy Dale Williams to take some of the slack away from Terrell Harris, their go-to guy with 64 catches last year.
Don't blink, folks. This is a no-huddle, fast-break offense. First down and 10. Ramsey completes his first one to Harris, and he's brought down immediately at the 6-yard line by the Cougars. Let's take a look at the offensive front for Tulane. This is an area of concern. Some important matchups up front of the tackles.
Really is. Take a look at the big matchup between Corey Sewell, number 56, who has started every game since he was a freshman. Number 92, Ryan Denny, has faced against him. That's going to be a big key here in the passing game for the Green Wave.
Tulane up at the line quickly and incomplete out of the backfield, intended for Moore again. And it'll be third down for Tulane. Let's take a look at perhaps the strength of this Cougar defense, the linebackers.
Really is. Justin Enna, 100 tackle guy from last year, but the key is going to be how well Kelly and Walkenhorst can be in coverage on their wideouts, their inside wideouts in particular.
And Gennaro Guilford returning this year, a big key for them in the secondary in terms of coverage.
As well as Aaron Francisco, number 33, a true freshman starter today.
Third down and long, 9 to go. Ramsey out of the end zone, complete for the first down out to the 25-yard line for Tulane. They have a host of talented receivers and a big catch converting their first down. Harris, again, a pickup of 17 yards.
One of the things we talked about was the key for the quarterback, that is Ramsey, to hang in there against the rush. Watch Denny on Sewell come in and almost get to him, but he's unfazed as he's able to throw it. Great job by Ramsey to stay in the pocket despite the pressure from Denny.
Big conversion on their first third down, and it's incomplete. Intended for number 88, Bobby Hoover. There's one of those freshmen in the lineup, Todd, for Tulane. They have a few of them.
Well, what happened there is that Brigham Young came with a blitz, and Hoover has to look quicker than that. Certainly Ramsey has people in his face. Hoover does not have the luxury of getting out there. You see the numbers from last year, nearly 300 yards per game. And don't forget, those numbers are added up because he missed parts of 3 or 4 games in the middle of the season with an injury.
Todd, Tulane has thrown the ball 5 consecutive times already. We said it might be an air raid today. Second down and 10 for Tulane. They handed off their first running play. And a big play, a breaker. Hockey, and he's still on his feet. Brent Hockey. Touchdown, Tulane. Mwelde Moore taking it 75 yards. That's the guy they want to touch the ball. Moore.
Well, everybody knew that this young man had some speed, but the thing that surprised me was his ability to break tackles. 6 foot, 198-pounder goes the distance. Great blocking at the point of attack. Was he able to slide in on a slant route? Then he gets to the outside, breaks a number of tackles to go the distance.
There is a stunned silence here at Lavelle Edwards Stadium right now as Tulane has taken an early 6-0 lead. The extra point to follow. Seth Marler attempting the extra point, a 6-foot junior. And he knocks it through. Tulane talked about running the ball, giving the ball to Moore about 20 times a game.
Well, one of the things here is you have to say that Mwelde Moore is the best running back in the San Diego Padre organization.
We'll tell you more later. We'll be back.
ESPN's 2-Minute Drill CD-ROM. Available wherever software is sold.
the all-new 200 horsepower Acura RSX.
Relax, we got supplemental insurance.
What are you talking about?
If we get injured and miss work, we're covered for things like lost pay and other expenses with this.
With what?
Plus, they pay you cash. Great, huh?
Who does?
Aflac. Without it, no insurance is complete.
This one, Daddy, this one.
I don't know, honey. He's kind of expensive. Hey, what's up with this one? No one seems to want him. Oh, look, sweetie. Oh, he needs a home, honey.
Some people know when to pay a little more. The Discover card for the slightly smarter consumer.
Coming out. Billboards.
ESPN2's presentation of college football is brought to you by Acura. Experience the performance today at your local Acura dealer. And by NFL Tonight, Tuesday night through Saturday night on ESPN2.
Back here in Provo, Utah, that's Mewelde Moore, who ran 75 yards for a touchdown moments ago in the San Diego Padres baseball chain. Not bad for a center fielder hitting 236.
Yeah, he was up at Single A, Idaho Falls, really not that far from here in Provo, Utah.
Luke Staley 2 yards deep for the Cougars. Staley brings it out to the 18-yard line. Let's take one more look at that touchdown.
Well, as you pointed out, they had done nothing but pass up to this point, and now the running play, you can see the defensive line up the field, but now here come the missed tackles. First Francisco misses, and then there's Staley that misses, and Guilford has the last chance at him and cannot bring him down. Give credit to Moore. He's more than just a scat back. Good upper body strength enabled him to go 75 yards for the touchdown.
Take a look at the scoring drive. That last run, the bolt of 75, the important one, 5 plays using up just 1:04 on the clock. Here's a chance now for BYU to answer. Doman takes it on the quarterback draw and has a first down out to the 36-yard line. Doman, a very good athlete, brought down by Jeff Sanchez, number 3. Take a look at the starting quarterback for BYU. He's 6'1", 195, a senior. Distinguished himself in the last 2 games of last season as the starter. A pickup of 18 yards and a look at the skill position people behind him. Luke Staley, the former Oregon High School Player of the Year. He has to stay healthy this season.
Reno Mahi is the one that they're looking for to make big plays for them. 2 years ago, he's a star freshman running back. Now he returns after a transfer year at Dixie Junior College as a wideout.
First down and 10 for the Cougars. Nose of the ball at the 36. A toss to Staley. And Staley is brought down at the 37 and a flag down. David Dorsey, number 34, making the tackle on the play.
But Adrian Mitchell was a little bit too late, and that's what's going to happen. They're going to tack on 15 against the Green Wave.
And that's exactly what the call was. So BYU will get the ball up and around midfield. Let's take a look at the offensive line. All 5 returning starters from a year ago. That's good for BYU.
Really is in terms of continuity. Lou Holtz always told me that that was the key to winning in collegiate football, was a solid and experienced offensive line.
Defensively up front, Tulane, you would think, would have to be a little bit salty, do a lot of stunting and twists and stuff to be successful.
But take a look at number 85, Floyd Dorsey. He is their consummate pass rusher. He's the guy that's going to be in the face of Doman.
Not too big up front for Tulane. They go 248, 280, 272, and 252. First down and 10, BYU's first possession of the ball game. A 3-receiver set. Doman on the screen to Staley, sets it up nicely. Flag down back at the 40. Staley brought down at the 27-yard line by Adrian Mitchell, number 14.
It appeared that Ben Archibald had somebody in his grasp, but this is going to come back. It's a point of attack foul, but the holding penalty is going to bring it back. And you're right, Mark, you're absolutely right. They did have it set up well. He fades back. The pass rusher in face times it out well. You can see right there. Number 68 is the culprit. Number 68 is Jason Sukanik, the center. And that one's pretty obvious.
You don't want to do it right in front of the official.
And you know, the other thing too, Mark, is that when you get a situation to where you are used to it, and when you're used to it, you're in that enclosed space where you can get away with holding, right? But in the opens, you can't do it.
This group of linebackers, very new, very inexperienced for Tulane. Dorsey, Neville, and Heath.
And Heath is an interesting story because he's only 195 pounds playing linebacker.
And the secondary, a pretty good group led by Elpage, number 13. It's 7-0, 12:34 to go in the first period. This is Brian McDonald. Gained about one. Neville making the tackle on the play for Tulane. Staley and McDonald will rotate in at tailback. I feel pretty good about that tailback position.
Well, and certainly on a day like this in the low 90s, a running back isn't likely to have a 30 or 35 carry day. I think what BYU wants to do ultimately, as you pointed out, they outweigh the defensive line by 30 pounds per man. They're hoping that eventually their strength will win out.
Look at Doman's numbers from a season ago, completing a little over 55% of his passes. Out of the shotgun. Complete. Out of bounds at the 37-yard line is Mike Rigel, number 8, making the catch, covered by Elpage.
Runs the out route. Mike Rigel, one of the few seasoned receivers that BYU has. They lost Hooks and Pittman, who were the stars last year. Rigel, they're counting on to have a little bit of experience, get up the field and make some plays, which he did there. Very makeable, short.
Under Crowton, the offense a little bit different in terms of more interpretation of reads, Todd?
It really is. It's difficult for receivers because they have to be on their toes. It's not all dependent upon the quarterbacks, whereas Chris Selfo, the head coach of Tulane, made it very clear the onus is on the quarterback to make the right decisions.
And a measure to see just how close they are to the first down, if they have it indeed. Come up just a little bit short. The third down and short for the Cougars.
The exact science of measurements.
Technology, huh?
No, I was going to say, remind me not to guess. Every time I guess, I'm wrong. So,
Chris Selfo, the third-year head coach of the Tulane Green Wave.
Very entertaining man. Regaled us with a terrific story about Troy Brown, the solid receiver now for the New England Patriots. Told us about how when he was recruiting him, Jim Donnan didn't necessarily want him. He kept telling him, no, he's a player, he's a player. No, I don't want him, I don't want him. And of course, when he gets there, he's a player. What happens? Donnan takes credit, right?
I told you. Look at BYU on their third down proficiency. A year ago, just 35%. 3rd and inches for the Cougars on its opening drive of the game. And the officials called timeout down on the field. Well, they're going to take a break, and so are we. It's 7-0, just underway in the 5th annual Black Coaches Association Classic.
Hey, man, where have you been?
The Outback.
In the Outback, huh? Well, you missed a great game.
No, I saw it there.
In the Outback.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good reception?
It's great. They're very friendly, too.
You see any wildlife?
Well, the big blooming onions are pretty wild.
And the food?
We're talking about the food.
A great night out that feels like a holiday. Outback Steakhouse. No rules, just right.
The 260 horsepower Acura CL Type S.
You take care of your engine, right? Change your oil every 3,000 miles. I don't think so. You don't have the time. And you push your luck, blowing off everything you were taught. Better start using reformulated Quaker State. Protection beyond 3,000 miles under any driving conditions. So your engine won't stop you. Because this is no place to find out you've been a bad boy. Reformulated Quaker State. What more do you need to know?
College football Saturday kicks off as the defending national champs look to keep their unbeaten streak alive. North Carolina, Oklahoma, 7:45 Saturday on ESPN.
Certainly at 3rd and 1.5 inches, that is, you would have thought they'd have had their goal line offense. Instead, they don't. They come out of the 4 wide receiver package, and right here you're going to see we don't have the right people. We got to call timeout. And that's the reason why Tulane took that timeout there. They had their goal line defense, whereas BYU still had their 4 wide set.
Tulane's defense very much under the gun this year, surrendering almost 32 points per contest a season ago. 3rd and inches for BYU. Doman out of the shotgun. Tulane coming on a blitz, and Doman has the first down and then some. Doman brought down at the 4-yard line. It's 1st and goal. Adrian Mitchell made a touchdown-saving tackle.
One of the things that you had mentioned earlier was his great athletic ability. In high school, he was an option quarterback. That's what he ran, and that's what he was used to. One of the reasons why it has taken him until his senior year to be fully the starter, because he's not used to being a passing quarterback. But right there, this is a run all the way. Great block at the point of attack by Staley, which enables him to get to the outside.
36 yards in all on that scamper by Brandon Doman.
Staley proves that he's more than just a running back. Nice block there. Enables Doman to get to the outside.
Here's Staley, touchdown BYU. Got a great block from Ben Archibald.
Mark, you're right. The blocking at the point of attack was outstanding. When you're that close to the goal line and you only have to break 1 tackle, that means the offensive line is doing its job.
Luke Staley, the 6'1", 218-pound junior. A nice run over the left side of the offensive line. And BYU just an extra point shy of tying this game up. And Payne knocks it through. And we are tied at 7 apiece with 11:46 to play in the first period.
Well, again, this is where the power that we mentioned starts to pay off for BYU. As you pointed out, that was very observant of you, Mark. You're not even a football guy.
What about that?
Check that out. The left side of the line does a great job at the point of attack. Great pulling, as you mentioned, by Archibald coming across, knocking out. Watch Gabe Reed, tight end on the left side, blocks his man down, comes outside, does Reichert, makes the hit. Staley goes in standing up. When you go in standing up from 2 or 3 yards out, your offensive line has done the job.
They'll pat him on the back when you get back to the bench. Just the beginning of another compelling and intriguing college football season. More tonight at 7:45 Eastern on ESPN. The 2001 Hispanic College Football Fun Classic. It's North Carolina against the defending champs out of Oklahoma. Oklahoma going into the season on a 13-game winning streak.
So what do you think? Can they repeat?
You know what? I think if they get it done offensively, I think they have a very good chance of doing that. Now, mind you, that's a big if with Heupel not there anymore, but defensively, all the tools are in place. Xander Robinson and Brent Hockey back for the kick. This is Hockey. Hockey brought down at the 13-yard line. That Cougar special teams unit really swarming.
Brady Papinga in on the hit. Anytime you can get somebody inside the 20-yard line at any level, you're doing the job on kickoff coverage.
Special teams so important, especially early in the season. A lot of times early in the year, you'll see some miscues by special teams unit. So far, though, not much has been told on either side of the ball from a special teams perspective.
Oh, only 4 minutes in, partner.
And 14 points on the board. A 4-receiver set. Tulane on 1st down and 10. Ramsey now audibling at the line. Weldy Moore runs it. Got back to the line of scrimmage at the 14-yard line.
Kiesel does a nice job of sliding down from the defensive end position to make the tackle. Brigham Young now is very aware of the running. Certainly, it's, fool me once. They don't want it to be shame on me the second time around. Kiesel, a converted tight end. When he ran for the Scouts, he ran a 4.59. Not bad for 260 pounds.
Ramsey not bad on that pass. It's complete at the 28-yard line. A nice catch that time by Terrell Harris.
Well, it's interesting that Harris, everybody knows that he's the go-to guy, and yet there he is in single coverage. Actually, the coverage was not that bad by Gennaro Guilford. A great job by Harris to concentrate and come up with the ball, despite the fact that Guilford was all over it.
1st down and 10, Todd, from the 26-yard line. No huddle out of the shotgun. Ramsey under duress, got it off, but it was tipped away nicely by Isaac Kelly. Let's go downstairs to Dave Ryan.
All right, Mark and Todd. Todd's ex-coach, the legend, is here. 29 years, 257 wins, but on game day, you're in the press box and not down here in the field. Lavelle Edwards, what does that feel like today?
Well, it's different, no question about it, but I'm excited about it, and no second thoughts or whatever it is. A great run, but it's time for somebody else to take over, and I'm very excited about it.
What kind of things are you doing these days? How's the handicap? You're working on your garden? You and your wife Patty playing a lot these days? Or?
I had one of the better rounds of golf that I've had for a while just the other day, and so I told my wife I didn't know I could golf in the fall would be that much fun, but now we've had a lot of other activities going on, and so kept pretty busy, but enjoyed it very much.
Gary Crowton did not play for you at BYU. He played at Colorado State and Snow College at JC, but you must know a lot about him. What are your thoughts on him taking over for you and his new era starting today?
Well, I think great. You know, and he was my choice that I'd hoped that it would work out, and that he'd come, and so he's doing an excellent job. I think it's a great choice.
So what's next for you down the road? Consulting, motivational speeches, what happens?
No, we'll probably involved here with the university for a few more months, and then my wife and I will go on a LDS church mission next summer. Probably.
Enjoy yourself. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, back upstairs.
All right, thanks a lot, Dave. Lavelle Edwards, the past. There's the present, Gary Crowton.
Isn't it interesting as you look at Lavelle Edwards? Could you ever mistake him for anybody else? I don't think
there is
so.
no look-alike, is there? One of a kind.
Look at that. How impressive. That says a lot for the continuity of the university as well as the persistence of Lavelle Edwards and numerous people that he's had in his staff.
First down and 10. Ramsey to pass. Complete again over the middle, wide open. Harris again brought down at the 44-yard line by Dustin Staley. And let's go back to the studio. Reese Davis.
All right, Mark, Wisconsin had a 13-3 lead on Virginia. Bryson Spenner off the bench at quarterback trying to get Al Groh's offense going. A little trickeration there, and Spenner putting it up. Billy McMullen using the size and scoring the touchdown. It's a 13-10 game now at Camp Randall.
Reese back here. It's Moore trying to get a little more down to the 27-yard line. Weldy Moore with a nice hole over the left side. Lafitte and Francisco making the stop for BYU. But getting back to that last highlight time, Wisconsin. What is college football coming to when Wisconsin starts putting in a spread offense?
Well, as they watch, I tell you what, if they'd be watching this game right now, which of course they're not because they're playing, it certainly is working for Tulane. BYU defense seems extremely confused.
First down and 10. Another full receiver set. Comes to the short side of the field, complete to Roydell Williams, the 6'2 sophomore. Last year was all freshman Conference USA.
One of the things that's going to have to happen is the tackle was made by Lafitte. One of the things that's going to have to happen for Brigham Young is that we talked with defensive coordinator Ken Schmidt, and he mentioned that he had confidence in the fact that his front four could generate some pass rush. Up to this point, it really hasn't.
And there's Roydell Williams again, still on his feet, and has the first down, brought down at the 14-yard line. Roydell Williams at 6'2", working on some of those smaller DBs for BYU.
Well, it appeared that he was going to get caught for a loss. They do a nice job of hustling out and almost making the play. Cuts back. Isaac Kelly cannot make the play, and the result, a nice block upfield. Roydell does get the first down, and something that Ken Schmidt, the defensive coordinator for Brigham Young, was concerned about was the fact that they hadn't hit much, so he wasn't sure about how well they could tackle. Certainly in that first drive, they didn't tackle well, and now they're continuing to struggle.
It's been a long time. Like you said, wide open is Moore in the flat. And he is inside the 5, brought down at the 3-yard line, close to another Tulane first down. They are marching the ball up and down the field arduously, methodically against this defense.
We talked about how well one of the strengths of BYU's defense being its linebackers. At this point, clearly they're struggling, Mark, because in coverage, Weldy Moore being that wide open just doesn't make any sense. That's one of the key cuts. He can't be that open.
And that look on Crowton's face kind of told the story for the Cougars. Ramsey audibly, a 2 tight end formation here. Incomplete. Good coverage on the corner that time by Gennaro Guilford.
Very dangerous throw, and I'm surprised that they would do that. I like the idea of throwing on first down because you surprise people instead of plowing into the middle. But take a look at Guilford. He's not fooled. Harris cuts to the inside. Guilford right with him, looking in the backfield. Ramsey actually makes a very good throw because he's not going to complete that ball. If he attempts to try and complete it, Guilford picks it and goes the other direction.
Todd, this is the 11th play of the drive. They hand it off to the first back through. Touchdown Tulane. The fullback that time, Chris Coleman, taking it home.
And how many times do you see it? Everybody's focused on the tailback, right? They're geared for that lead blocker and to get the guy jump over the top. Instead, a quick handoff to Coleman. And again, great job by the offensive line because he went in practically standing up.
Chris Coleman, a load at 6'2", 240, a sophomore. One of those young players starting to come into their own for Tulane. And the Green Wave have recaptured the lead on their second long drive of the ball game. With 8:27 to play in just the first period, it's 14-7 for Tulane. One more look at the handiwork of Chris Coleman between the two tackles. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Rick from Empire Glass. Let Empire Glass replace your cracked windshield and will now pay up to $100 of your comprehensive insurance deductible. And will now give you 24 free dinners to Sherry's, the Northwest's #1 family restaurant and bakery, with any windshield replacement. So for the highest in quality windshields, including up to $100 off your comprehensive deductible and 24 free dinners to Sherry's, call Empire Glass today at 251-9881. When you think glass, think Empire.
When you're looking to buy or sell a home, it's important to keep in touch with the local market. That's why you should tune in to the Coldwell Banker Barbara Seal Properties Tour of Homes show. You'll find local listings in a variety of shapes, sizes, and price ranges. And at Coldwell Banker, you'll find real estate professionals who work to achieve the perfect balance of needs for their clients. Look to the Coldwell Banker Tour of Homes show 7 days a week only on TV Mart, AT&T Cable Channel 15. Let us help you find your dream home.
College football Saturday kicks off on ESPN. The Tar Heel attack, led by Ronald Curry, blasts into Oklahoma, where All-American Rocky Kalmus and the defending national champs look to keep their unbeaten streak alive. He got it! Touchdown! The Sooners' road to repeat begins with a Saturday night special in Norman. North Carolina battles Oklahoma at 7:45. It all starts at 7 with College Game Day, presented by Discover Card, tonight on ESPN.
Chris Coleman shouting out to the folks back at home watching on television. Tulane leading 14-7. Coleman taking it into the end zone moments ago from 3 yards out. As both Tulane scoring drives have come on long drives, 86 on the last one. He looks happy. And they don't seem bothered by the altitude, by the way.
Well, no. And I think it's interesting as you point out the length of the drives. Of course, BYU also went more than 80 yards, 82. But it just seems to me that defense does go out the window because what do you always tell your people? Make them go the distance, make them go 80 yards. Well, guess what? We've had 3 drives and 3 touchdowns over 80 yards. So that axiom is history.
Plan B.
What is that stutter? What is that about?
They had me going.
You know what? That's something you did in high school. I know it.
Seth Marler, little okey-doke move. Deep into the end zone, 5 yards deep. Rigel takes a knee. And Reese, what's happening with Al Groza beginning in Virginia?
Well, Al got close, Mark, at 13-10. Brooks Bollinger out with a hurt belly. This might make his belly feel better. Jim Sorgi, a dart to Lee Evans for the touchdown. Badgers missed the extra point. Vitaly Krasetsky, he's not there. It's 19-10.
Mark, I did a game last year, a couple of games with Wisconsin, and Bollinger was out, and Sorgi came in and almost beat Purdue. The kid's got a great arm. I think he might be a little bit better thrower than Bollinger, frankly.
Wisconsin had to prepare for that game by looking at NFL tape of Al Groh's time in New York with the Jets. No history there in college. First down and 10. Staley almost lost the handle and gets out to the 24-yard line, tackled by Elpage.
Shows how well the offensive line is getting their attack because he bobbles the ball, stumbles in the backfield, and still able to get nearly 5 yards.
Luke Staley talked about the fact earlier that he must stay healthy this year, and a big part of Coach Crowton's approach here at BYU is strength training. And Staley was saying earlier, practice, he was saying that he feels much stronger and faster than he has in the last couple of years.
In both his freshman and sophomore years, Mark, he was rehabbing ACLs. And so when you're rehabbing as opposed to actually getting ready for a season, well, he is the healthiest he has been since his tenure here at the Y.
2nd down and 6. Doman to pass. Wide open to the flat. Staley got some room and got the first down out to the 39-yard line, tackled by Terry Fontenot.
Well, again, we mentioned how multifaceted Staley is. We've seen him run the ball. He ran in for the touchdown. We saw him get a key block on Doman's run. Now we see his ability to catch the ball. He's just going to circle out of the backfield and find a dead spot over here in the zone. Not quite able to break a tackle. Actually able to hang on is Fontenot. Otherwise, that could have been a lot more yardage.
Staley with a penchant for predictions this week. Predicted on an ESPN chat that the final score might be 42-21 in their favor. 1st down and 10 for the Cougars. That time, Staley again brought down right near the line of scrimmage, maybe behind a loss of 1. Dorsey making the stop. Both teams running up and down the field. Tulane over 100 yards already rushing the ball.
And if you just tuned in, that's not a misprint, honest. and you would have thought that, of course, you know, coming into the season, there's 60-40 pass to run, and in some cases even more than that. You can see with the clock running, I mean, there's a lot of time left, and the idea that this could be a scoring fest is apt.
It is 2nd down and 10 to go. Doman on the quick slant. Complete to Mahi at the 46-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and about 3 to go. They pin a lot of their hopes catching the ball on number 20 this year.
2 years ago, as a freshman running back, he averaged nearly 5 yards per carry, rushing for 481 yards. And then he had some problems in school and had to transfer and go to a junior college. But they really feel as if he is going to be the bellwether of their offense. They like what he can do after the catch and make some people miss and break tackles.
Crowton says that he reminds him of some of the NFL players that he coached in Chicago with his ability to get open. 3rd down and 3. Doman keeps it on the quarterback draw and has the first down at the 43-yard line of Tulane. Brought down by Heath.
I'm interested if, for whatever reason, I don't know that he's out there paying any attention because there aren't that many college football games going on today. But if Tim Rattay, the backup quarterback for the 49ers, happens to be watching this game, I'm wondering if he's saying to himself, what's up with this? I never ran this many quarterback draws. I didn't get to do this many sprints. Come on, Crowton, why didn't you use that when I was there?
Just one of the many wrinkles that Crowton has here for BYU. 1st down and 10, the clock running with 5:41 to play in the first period. Big hitter to Mahi. Brought down at the 38-yard line by number 14, the free safety, Adrian Mitchell and Wesley Heath.
And Mitchell does a great job of pursuing from his free safety spot to make that play. Heath, as we mentioned at the top of the show, only 195 pounds playing outside linebacker. But Coach McGinnis had explained to me the reason for that is because of the multiple sets that you have defensively. You have to have people that can stay on the field all the time, and Heath is one of those guys.
And some youngsters backing up those linebackers. Same play other side. Mahi down to the 29-yard line and has a first down. Mitchell and Heath again making the tackle, but too late. Folks, don't forget Sunday Night Baseball presented by Nextel comes your way tomorrow, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific time. Barry Bonds, what's he at, 55 now, continuing his chase for number 70 as the Giants visit New York to battle the Mets. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Interesting that he would have this kind of year at this advanced age. I'm not going to say old, but advanced age. Gaping hole for Staley. It's touchdown.
Well, first it was the left side of the offensive line that created a giant hole. This time it was the right side. I mean, when you go from that far away and go untouched as Staley just did, I mean, he's a solid runner and give him credit, but clearly, even at my advanced stage, Mark, I think I could have run that one in. What a cavern that was he had to run through.
Staley advancing the ball 29 yards for the score. And that's David Dorsey, the senior linebacker, one of just 2 seniors on the starting defensive unit, limping off the field.
And hopefully that's not serious because Dorsey is a big key to their defense. He's the guy that blitzes and covers the best back coming out of the backfield. They desperately need him to stay healthy.
His backup, Algier, one of those freshmen. In for the extra point, Matt Payne. He ties the game at 14 with 4:41 to play. Points, points, and more points.
Take a look at the right side of watch Archibald Reed come off their blocks and create the gap that's going to be there. Look at the double team. Now he comes off. Look at the block. His T. Whiting pulls into the hole and nails the backer. And really, as I say, okay, maybe I'm overstating it. The guy might have tackled me at the 5, but I'm telling you what a great job at the point of the attack by the offensive lineman. And we said at the top of the show, Mark, one of the keys for BYU, that veteran offensive line, 4 or 5 starters back. That continuity is really paying dividends today for the Cougars.
Another long drive by an offensive unit. This one 80 yards. So all 4 scoring drives by the 2 respective teams, 80+ yards long.
Well, I'm anticipating with 4:41 remaining here in the first quarter, Mark, they're going to knuckle down and play some defense now.
Yeah, that's a great prediction.
Yeah, okay. Well, don't hold me to that. Kreskin, I'm not.
The defensive coordinator is running for the hills. But they're not that far away.
I was going to say, Mark, how many times do you come into a game and things that you predict are not even close? Everybody talked about the fact, even Coach Chris Selfo told us yesterday, he said, we're exciting, we're fun to watch, but he also conceded the point that we can give up some touchdowns too. And look at this, 28 points with less than 5 minutes still remaining in the first quarter.
BYU to kick it off. Robinson and Hockey back deep. They kick it Hockey's way and it goes out of the end zone. The Green Wave will start this drive on their own 20, which they're used to doing.
I was going to say the stage is set for another 80-yard drive, right? I tell you what, Ramsey is as good as advertised. His decision-making is what's really impressed me, Mark. Every single time the guy he has gone to has been the right choice, has been open. He is just threading the needle. I really like his accuracy. And I don't, you know, obviously there are a lot of great quarterbacks in the nation, but this young man has to be certainly in the top 10. I really like what he can do.
Well, Todd, it's been a steady diet of Ramsey to Harris and Ramsey herring it off to Moore. 3 main cogs in that Green Wave offense. They run to Waggle, and they complete it this time to Roydell Williams, who has a first down at the 35-yard line. And let's go downstairs to Dave Ryan. Dave, what's up?
Mark and Todd, you remember the conversation we had with BYU defensive coordinator Ken Schmidt yesterday? He told us he was a little concerned about missed tackles. We saw Mwelde Moore go 75 yards on Tulane's first drive. They've had a lot of success. Broken tackles have been a huge problem for BYU. Guys, they have not hit in 9 days. Gary Crowton, their new head coach, wanted to avoid injury, but it could be a problem defensively.
Yeah, Dave, that really is such a catch-20 situation, and almost intercepted at the 45-yard line by Dustin Staley.
I was about to point out, Mark, 7 for 11 for 81 yards and really not a bad ball thrown. That's the first bad ball he had thrown. He had thrown over the top on Staley. Inevitably, this is what happens. You start to close in. You want to make the hit. Take a look. Watch number 19. He's going to be at the top right of your screen. The ball floats on Ramsey a little bit. It's right to him. Hits him between the 1 and the 9. He can't hold on to it. Mark, I don't think there's a single game that I broadcast where there hasn't been a dropped interception by a defensive back. It's just tough.
They give it to Coleman, who scored the last touchdown for Tulane. Powers his way to the 39.
I'm sorry to interrupt. The reason I say tough is because in practice, they're always doing tip drills. They're trying to close on the ball to make hits. They don't practice necessarily those interceptions, and that's the reason why you see that.
Interesting. Of course, Luke will tell you that the reason his brother is on defense is because of what he just showed you a few moments ago.
Good point.
3rd down and 6 for Tulane. They have yet to punt today. They hand it off. And a first down and then some. Narcisse got a good block from Bobby Hoover, the tight end.
That's exactly right. Walkenhorst had contain on the side number 47, but Hoover does a great job of cutting his legs out from under him, enabling Narcisse to get to the outside and get the first down. I'm sure that everybody in the park assumed that Ramsey was going to throw the ball. Instead, they catch him off guard with a semi-reverse.
Narcisse, the fastest member of this Tulane team. Less than half a minute to play in the period. And Ramsey got hit as he delivered the ball. It's incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
But really, outside of early in the first quarter, we pointed out when Denny got close to him, that's only the 2nd time that he's really been pressured. And again, because you've got a quarterback that's 235 pounds, he's going to hang in there. You see his feet go out from under him, but one of the things that people around the league in Conference USA, as well as the head coach, pointed out, this young man can take a hit.
Great athlete in his own right, former javelin champion. 3:47 to play in the first quarter. And that one almost intercepted as well by number 55, Justin Ena.
And Justin Ena does a great job in coverage on Hoover, the tight end. And here's the thing that I'm impressed with. The reason I'm impressed with him in particular is because of the fact that everybody knows that he's a tackler. Watch his coverage in the middle of the field as he runs across with him man for man. Almost comes up with the ball as he's tripped. But Ena's great man for man with the tight end. Not many middle backers can do that, Mark.
Got another 3rd and long. They converted last time on a 14-yard pickup for the first down. Ramsey incomplete, again hit as he delivered the ball.
This is what we talked about. This was going to be the big issue. It was going to be Sewell versus Ryan Denny. And right now, here late in the first period, Ryan Denny has picked something up. I don't know if it's an arm under or if it's a start or what it is, but he's done a great job now putting a lot of pressure on Ramsey. He's forced him into 2 or 3 hurries now here in the first quarter.
Tulane into punt for the first time today.
A what? A punt?
Yeah, what about that? Dust off the punter, and here comes Casey Russell.
He's a good one.
Russell, 13 punts inside the 20 last season. He's Tulane's all-time leader in punting average. Amongst the top punters in the nation.
It's not a good one.
Miguel at the 11. Miguel fighting for every yard. He fumbled
Lost the ball.
He put it on the ground.
This is a problem that Miguel had last year as well. He had a couple of fumbles as the punt returner for BYU. And now my guess is the ball is exchanging hands 2 or 3 times. It never fails the bottom of the pile.
And they're going to say it's Cougar ball.
One of the things you have to know is when to go down. When to go down. Right there, he's still struggling. Right there at the end, he gets popped. And that's by number 18, Terry Fontenot. The ball scrambles out, and I couldn't quite pick up who it was that was able to come up with it. But you're right at the end. Watch Fontenot does a great job of separating her from the ball. He was almost down. Daniel Neville almost had it. BYU ball at the 25.
After that 41-yard punt. First down and 10. Doman. Plenty of time. Takes off. First down at the 35-yard line, and back to Reese in the studio.
Mark, I don't know if Wisconsin is sold out and gone totally to the spread, but they are being very effective in the passing game. Jim Sorgi again against Virginia throws it just in time, and Lee Evans running free. Rod Gilmore bragging that on ESPN.com he predicted a big day for Lee Evans. It's 26-10 in the fourth quarter.
Wow.
Well, I got to tell you, Rod Gilmore may be bragging, but I picked Wisconsin to win the Big Ten. I like them defensively, and I think that either Sorgi or Bollinger is going to lead them. I like their chances.
Conference up for grabs in many minds. Staley made a great cut. Luke Staley, touchdown. 65 yards. Incredible bursts of speed over the right side, and BYU with a couple of consecutive scores has taken its first lead of the afternoon, 21-14.
You mentioned that it was a great cut, but again at the point of attack, watch the right side of the offensive line do their job. Watch the block there. That's Doug Jolly that gets his man. Now downfield, look at Rod Wilkerson, the fastest player on the team, is able to get L. Page out of the way, and that enables Staley to go. The reason that's a big deal is because that's the fastest guy on their team, and maybe he could catch Staley from behind. Instead, to the right of your screen, you're going to see it. There's Wilkerson messing with L. Page. That enables Staley to get into the open field and get his 3rd touchdown of the first quarter.
Todd, that's really not something strange to see in the fact that BYU receivers over the last couple of years have had a bit of a reputation for being good blockers downfield, correct?
Well, one of the things that's happened, and I mentioned number 26, Rod Wilkerson. He's the 10-500 meter man. He's the guy that has set the state record in Utah on the 100 meters. He's somebody that they finally have that's good sized. He's 6'1.5", 190. In the past, they had a lot of Smurf-like people. And so, really, yeah, they could block, but they weren't altogether effective with it. Now they got some big people downfield like Wilkerson that get in the way. That can only help people like Staley and McDonald.
Well, Tulane going to get a chance to draw even. Hockey and Robinson back for the kickoff. Did you expect this many points? I mean, really, did you expect this many points this early?
Actually, I did, but a very interesting point here is that if people came here to see Air Crowton, you know, why would you go Air Crowton when you've got Ground Staley?
Good point. Hockey at the 2. Found a hole and got it up near the 30-yard line. Maybe its best starting field position of the day so far. Well, tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2, it's the Little League World Series International Championship game. Tokyo, Japan against the Netherlands Antilles. And the winner of that game will go on to meet the U.S. champion in the championship game at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time on ABC in prime time tomorrow night. The Netherlands Antilles, a bit of a surprise, you'd think.
Yep. Down in Curacao. Home of Andrew Jones. Have you had a chance to see that Almonte kid throw?
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
I'm still trying to pick up the ball.
I'm a left-handed hitter, so I know I'd have no shot. It's interesting how they transpose that. You know, he throws 75, 76, and that what transposed to what, 98, 99, or 100, whatever it is.
From 60 feet, 6 inches, yeah.
48 strikeouts in 3 games, and 6-inning games at that. That's just amazing.
You know, people talking about whether he's really 12 years old. Okay, so if he's not, if he's 13 or 14, he's still throwing well.
He's 12.
Second down and 9. Ramsey incomplete over the middle, intended for Harris. There he is in coverage again.
One of the things that Ken Schmidt has done defensively here is now that Denny is getting the pass rush, he is able to mix up his zones and mans. You're saying to yourself, why do you have Enna on the wide receiver? Well, he's sitting there. Watch Harris. He comes underneath. Enna's waiting on him on the inside. Yes, he holds him. He knows that he got away with it. Enna's a sharp guy. It's like Ray Chester used to tell me. He said, if you get away with it, it's not cheating.
Got it that time. 3rd down and 9. Ramsey complete to Harris. 1st down out at the 44-yard line. Whenever Tulane is in a pinch, number 22, the double deuce, is going to be the guy.
Well, I got to tell you, Ryan Denny is absolutely abusing Sewell here at the left tackle. Watch him just bull rush him right 92, right in the middle of your screen. Just runs right over the top of him. And what a terrific throw by Ramsey. How does he make that throw with the guy right in his face? And this is interesting. Harris, we had anticipated that maybe they might double team Harris and we'd see some other people. Instead, Harris is putting on a show.
Ramsey to pass again, flushed out, doesn't run that often, but can escape and does down to the 48-yard line, picking up about 6 on the play, brought down by Walkenhorst, the linebacker.
And Ryan Denny, number 92, I'm sorry, is screaming at the official because he thought he got held on the twist. Ryan Denny is just wreaking all sorts of havoc, but give Ramsey credit. You know, even though he's, you know, he ran, and as you pointed out, we timed it with a sundial. He's still able to come up with 8.5 yards.
Wave out in a 4-receiver set. Roy Dell Williams split to the short side of the field. Ramsey got rid of it quickly, threw it a little low. Intended for Harris again.
BYU came with a blitz that time from the top. I believe it was Isaac Kelly. Harris didn't see it quite quickly enough, and he threw it a little bit too soon. Or rather, Ramsey saw it, Harris did not.
First quarter of the Gary Crowton era winding down here at BYU. The Cougars with a 7-point lead. Harris in motion. Wide open. Complete. He needs one block. Harris knocked out of bounds at the 4-yard line. A great read and adjustment by Harris on the play. Guilford saved the touchdown for BYU.
Well, he may have saved the touchdown, but he was the one that really got beat by Harris on the move. Harris is just, watch him come in motion. Now Guilford has him man for man. He looks like he's going to cut to the outside, and for whatever reason, Guilford decides not to close. He's waiting for him to come to the outside. Instead, he just finds the seam. Poor job of coverage on the part of Guilford. Needs to go with him stride for stride, because Harris is not a blazer. But up to this point, I tell you what, he is moving the sticks and making a lot of huge plays.
Picked up a measly 43 that time. Under a minute to play in the first period. This has been the offensive scoring frenzy that many people thought it would be, and then some.
You know, we talk about Staley with the big numbers. Here's Harris up to this point, 6 catches and 104 yards still in the first quarter. Amazing.
And the meter's still running on 1st and goal. Ramsey, short side of the field, touchdown. Roydell Williams victimizing Michael Lafitte.
One of the routes that's popular now, and I remember when it began with Terry Bradshaw and John Stallworth. It's the fake fade, where everybody assumes you're going to throw over the top, you run to the outside, then you plant quickly and come to the outside. Take a look at what happens here. Ramsey looks like he might be throwing the fade, and then he drills it to the outside. Lafitte is anticipating that he's going to go to the fade. Instead, he comes back to the outside. Ball's right on the money. A well-timed play by the Green Wave.
Tulane showing a lot of temerity and coming back, being able to answer that long run for a touchdown not that long ago by Staley, which gave BYU the lead. And now Tulane ties the game up at 21. 42 points in 15 minutes. Let me get my calculator out, see what's happening here over 60.
All right, at this point, I'd have to say no. I didn't think they were going to score 42 points in the first quarter. But then again, if you're Luke Staley, BYU has to score 21 unanswered points for his prediction to come true. And I'm guessing in the last 3 quarters, BYU is not likely to shut out the Green Wave. Here it is again. Look at Ramsey, does a great job looking the free safety off, and he flies across the field. He's got man-for-man coverage. That ball couldn't be thrown any better. I'm very impressed with number 7.
An athlete in his own right. And, you know, something we haven't talked about is that Gary Crowton, when he was the coach at Louisiana Tech, actually recruited Patrick Ramsey to go to his school, but elected to take Tulane instead.
Well, and Ramsey is a native of Ruston, you know, which is where Louisiana Tech is located. When we talked to Gary Crowton about that, he said he had him for sure, and then at the last minute he went down to New Orleans to visit. He told him that he was pre-med at the time. That was what he was interested in. He goes in, and evidently they let him in on an operation, surgery, let him wear scrubs and everything else. And he said, that's the school for me. And I know one man who's extremely grateful, and that's Chris Selfo. And another one, Roydell, is grateful too.
They may let him do that surgery. Right now doing surgery on that secondary of BYU.
He is indeed.
54 seconds to play in the first period. BYU now with an option to take it at the 35-yard line. Let's check in downstairs with Dave Ryan.
Mark, BYU coach Gary Crowton has made one significant change every fan here at LaVell Edwards Stadium can really notice. His team has changed sidelines. Now, in years past, the Cougars took the west sideline, but the afternoon sun can really heat up that side of the field. The glare is hard to deal with as well. Now on the east sideline, it's not nearly as harsh. We have temperatures in the 90s. I'm on the Tulane sideline right now, guys, so Gary Crowton knows exactly what to do because it is very hot, and some of the Tulane players are getting affected by it.
All right, Dave, I wonder if the dark uniforms make that much of a difference, Todd.
I think I'm really surprised that they went with blue on a 90-some degree day. I would have made the visiting team wear the dark.
But it's a dry heat. 1st and 10. The reverse. Junior Mahi has all kinds of real estate. Got a great block. Mahi. Down to the 10-yard line. David Dorsey made the touchdown-saving tackle. A great block by Ben Archibald on the play.
And this is a terrific call by Gary Crowton. You know, you've got the people on their heels or on the 35-yard line. You come out with something. You come out with a bit of a gimmick, and that's what they get with Mahi. Cuts the outside, does a great job of staying behind his blockers. Watch here At the top of your screen, you're going to see the big tackle who's downfield trying to get a block, but he can't quite do it. Now watch him hustle. It's Reichert who gets downfield, pushes the man all the way out of bounds. See the man coming back in. That's Elpage who comes back in after getting knocked out by Reichert. Great call by Crowton and the Cougars.
First down, they run it to the short side of the field. Little option football. When was the last time we saw that? Doman keeping it, gaining 2 yards on the play.
One of the things that they did in the spring was that they realized that with his running ability and the fact that he had run an option program in high school, that was something that they could do. Doman, of course, has shown his running ability here in the first quarter.
And that effectively will end the first quarter of play. And what a prolific first quarter it has been. Let me see, 21 times 4. That's 84 points if they keep this pace up. Gary Crowton, 21 points. I think he would say he'd have to take that going into this one. We'll be right back with a lot more.
When a woman gets her hair done, rain is just like kryptonite.
Need a ride? Save big bucks on every call. Dial 1-800-CALLATT for collect calls.
Somebody should have dialed down the center.
2 thumbs up for American Pie 2, the #1 movie in America 2 weeks in a row.
We're awful proud of you, son.
Don't miss out on the next chapter of an American classic.
I can taste the bubbles.
American Pie 2, rated R.
The all-new 200 horsepower Acura RSX.
Love your hair. Nice shirt, Al.
Thanks. It's,
retro, huh?
When you eat a Wendy's Mozzarella Chicken Supreme, you just feel good.
Great tie.
Thanks, my mom gave it to me.
With its whole breast filet, mozzarella, and Parmesan sauce,
How you feeling? Me? I'm feeling great.
it picks up the whole day.
Hey, who wants to go to the zoo?
I do. Try Wendy's Mozzarella Chicken Supreme and have a nice day.
Penguins are in town.
Remember, Wendy's pickup window is open late, so you can eat great, even late.
Will she feel the same way if you lose your hair?
Sure. She'll just feel it about somebody else.
Don't worry, I love you. Anyway, you don't have to lose it.
Are you talking about Rogaine?
Rogaine? Maybe. Why not?
Rogaine. Yeah, why not? It's simple, it's safe, and it's clinically proven to help stop hair loss and regrow hair. Does she want you to use Rogaine? Better ask.
Take a walk in Iverson's shoes. Reebok I3 Playoff Low at Foot Locker.
Well, offensively, it was first period. Lavelle Edwards, the former BYU coach, would have been proud of. Doman, touchdown to the tight end, number 89, Spencer Neal.
That's a great call. You go with the misdirection. Spencer Neal with the short corner underneath. Gabe Reed, the other tight end, taking coverage with him to the top. That's a great play-action fake by Doman.
As the Cougars regain the lead.
Payne on to attempt the point after. Aaron Edmonds will hold.
Payne in to attempt the extra point. And BYU on the first play of the second period. Off to an auspicious beginning here in the quarter.
Well, one of the statistics of the first quarter that stood out to me, besides a lot of them stood out, but BYU had rushed for 172 yards, and that's what helps your play-action fake. Look at all the white shirts to the side. He has his choice. There's absolutely nobody on need, wide open in for the touchdown. Doman has plenty of time, slings it right in there. As I mentioned, there's Reed at the top of your screen, 42, taking the coverage with him. Cougars with an easy touchdown.
Tight end, one of the deeper positions on this BYU team, and Coach Crowton, no doubt happy about that. 65 yards in just 3 plays. And the big play, that 55-yard run by Junior Mai.
I think at this point, I think it warrants to point out some people here. Ben Archibald, Aaron McCubbins, Jason Sakanik, T. Whiting, and Dustin Riker, as well as Spencer Need, Gabe Reed, and Doug Jolly, the offensive line for Brigham Young. I think have really been the stars up to this point. They protected their quarterback, and their running attack has been as good as it's ever been, certainly in the last couple of years.
BYU with its second lead in the game. Doman, 7-7 so far for 60 yards and a touchdown pass.
And he's also rushed for over 70 yards.
The total package.
What's up, Trent?
Hockey and Robinson back deep.
Hard to believe the last year he was third string, isn't it?
It wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't. You're right. He only started the last 2 games. And it was the New Mexico game where he did what?
300 yards
passing, yeah,
and 50 rushing.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, that's right.
Brought the whole package like he has today. This is Hockey, and he's going to take a knee. Back at the 3 yards deep in the end zone. Back to Reese in the studio. Reese?
Well, Markman Darren Diedrich got suspended for an incident off the field for Nebraska. Thunder Collins got his opportunity against TCU. Highly regarded coming in, only 77 yards career rushing, but he almost doubled that today, taking the pitch from Eric Crouch and scoring. Nebraska took care of TCU 21-7, the Pigskin Classic.
All right, thanks a lot, Reese. And Coach Solich dealing with a lot of off-field incidents there. Got a message late one night. It was his wife who was out of town. Said, hey, don't forget to buy that Powerball deal, man. It's $175 million. That among all the problems that he was facing. Weldy Moore brought down right at the line of scrimmage at the 20-yard line by Brett Kiesel. Now, Todd, let's talk about some potential adjustments defensively for BYU. You mentioned they were starting to get some pass rush, which allowed them to do certain things.
Well, one of the things that I think is that even though you do have great linebackers there, one of the things that you need to do is you have to have people that are in coverage that maybe are a little bit faster. But as Ken Schmidt pointed out to us, these are our best athletes, and they're the guys that are going to play.
Receiver screen incomplete, intended for Roy Dell Williams. I think he heard footsteps on that one.
And now, just as I say that, Isaac Kelly, outside linebacker, reads the play perfectly and breaks it up. One of the things they've been able to take advantage of is we see the stats update. That's just amazing.
Wow.
Those numbers.
297 yards for BYU and 279.
That's right. I'm sorry, I'd forgotten the Mahi run. You have to add that in as rushing. Wow.
BYU blitzing off the corner, and it's picked up. Moore out of the backfield, lunging for the first down, but he stepped out of bounds back at the 28-yard line. And there's a flag down up at the 41-yard line.
Well, that's deep in the backfield, in the defensive backfield. So that would mean more than likely that BYU had too many men on the field. And that's costly, especially when you come up. How many times has Tulane come up 3rd and 10? And the answer is none.
Yep. Chris Selfo in his 3rd year at Tulane, and said that this game was really important for him and his team with respect to, it was really a credibility issue, not whether necessarily they win or lose this game, but they have to come on national television and play well, not only for themselves, for the entire program, and for the conference too.
All of those things are apt. But if you ever listened to a head coach and believed him when he said the winning or losing wasn't consequential,
know about that.
You know very well that man wants to come up here and steal one in Provo. And the way the offense has been playing, they're certainly capable of it.
Inadvertent flag. It'll be 4th down.
And in comes the punting unit.
Now just for the sake of argument, I'm not going to try and predict anything, but the way the defense is playing for Tulane, this would be the opportunity for a fake punt, right? You're down 28-21. You don't want to be down 35. And Chris Selfo is one of those guys willing to take some chances. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but this would be a time to do it. If BYU knows what they're talking about, they should be in the safe. And look right now, the punter maybe he's changing his mind. What do you think? I'm telling you. Why would he need to do this? It's because they only have 10 men on the field. That's why.
Ball at the 27 and one more player coming onto the field.
Now, is that some sort of masquerade?
We'll find out shortly. Rigel, meanwhile, back at the 28 is Roussel. Punts it. There's Rigel. He'll kick it away. Gets off a high spiral. Driving Rigel all the way back to the 13-yard line. What a punt. And they're going to take some more yardage off BYU's return. Guilford.
That was awful.
With the block in the back.
Oh, that was the most obvious clip I've seen in quite a while.
A 58-yard punt by Casey Roussel, one of the top returning punters in the nation.
And it's going to end up being almost a 58-yard net, or maybe even more, because of that block in the back.
Rigel trying to make a move, but they'll bring it back even further. Can Tulane's defense come up with a stop? We'll find out when we come back.
Nando Mania, coming August 28th, only on ESPN Classic.
Look, we got a lot to do today, so let's make this quick. Get what you need, we're out of here. Agreed?
Yes.
Kevin!
We know how you feel, and that's why you can shop online and pick up at a nearby store the same day, or we'll ship to you. Circuit City.
.55 to play in the second period. I'm Mark Jones along with Todd Blackledge, Dave Ryan down in the sidelines, and so far this has been a game dominated by their respective offenses. BYU leading 28-21, and this is the first game of the Gary Crowton era.
Well, they did something a little out of the ordinary, trying to go up top. They want to stretch the defense a little bit, took a chance. I'm surprised they're especially as effective as they've been running the ball.
Pass is complete to Junior Mahi. Todd Christensen.
Reno Mahi is the guy that they're counting on. He does a nice job getting his hands underneath the ball. That was actually a very difficult catch. Sanchez, who was the starting running back for Tulane last year, is the corner in on the coverage.
Interesting twist of fate, as things would have it. He starting running back gets hurt, and then Moore comes in, does a great job. And are we too old to mention Wally Pipp? Do people understand that? Are we dating ourselves?
Yeah, you know, a lot of people don't realize that Wally Pipp, you know, was the slot back for Chicago. No. He's the come on, man, what's up with you? Enough with the baseball analogy. No, it's fair. Lou Gehrig, yeah, I get it.
3rd and inches for the Cougars. Crowton had the butterflies, admittedly, before this game. He was looking for a lot of different ways to kill time heading into this game today. Talked about some of his experiences formerly as a head coach, how he worked off some of the nerves. Spent some time with his family on Friday, doing some different activities. 3rd and inches for the Cougars.
This would be a huge stop for Tulane if they can get it.
Staley got the first down and then some. Staley out to the 45-yard line. A first down pushed out by Jeff Sanchez. And let's go back to the studio with Reese.
Martin, Virginia won't go away against Wisconsin. Down 26-10 deep in the fourth quarter. Bryson Spenner already had 1 touchdown pass on the day. Good protection there. Has a little extra time. He'll find Tyree Foreman. Badgers just converted a 4th down deep in their own territory. It's 26-17. They're late in the fourth quarter.
Back here, 1st down and 10. Little fumble on the snap. McDonald Ashford brought down at the 42 by Wesley Heath.
And you saw afterwards, it's interesting, Doman's reaction. That hole was huge. The timing was wrong. They just couldn't hold it long enough, and McDonald Ashford's a little bit frustrated. He does a nice job of maintaining possession, but he saw a big hole, and you can see the look on his face. There was a giant hole for him to run through.
Which has been the case many times as far as running the ball goes for BYU so far today. McDonald Ashford led the team last year with 8 rushing touchdowns. 2nd down and 12. Quick hitter complete out of the backfield down to the 44-yard line. That's a 1st down. Mahi again.
Well, this is their version. This is part of what Gary Crowton pointed out to us as part of their running attack. Even though it's a pass, it is a running attack. They want to get Mahi in the open field so he can make some people miss. Great job at the point of the attack by the wide receiver, enabling him to get past. I believe that was Soren Halliday. But Mahi makes somebody miss and gets a big first down for the Cougars.
Nose of the ball at the 44-yard line. Teams knotted at 13 apiece in terms of first downs. Doman going up top, has a man. Wilkerson got in behind the defender, slowed up a little bit, might have cost him.
It did. And again, we need to point out that Wilkerson is a converted defensive back. He was wide open, and Doman's not very happy with himself either. Take a look at the throw, and one of the things you're going to see Wilkerson do is he's looking back at the quarterback. He's looking back at the quarterback. You need to keep running until the ball is delivered. And what happens is, as you well know, you slow down a little bit. And Doman's not very happy with himself. He knows, doggone it. So I could have had that one if I'd have thrown a little bit closer to the post.
Sets up a second down and 10. They set up the screen. McDonald Ashford with room. First down at the 21-yard line. The execution on point for the Cougars. Godfrey and Barnes making the tackle, but not after a pickup of 23 yards for BYU.
Gee, it looks like BYU really loses a lot when they go from Staley to McDonald Ashford, isn't it? Okay, I'm being sarcastic. But once again, the offensive linemen downfield making their blocks. Miguel backpedals a little bit, but you can see Sukanik downfield as well as Reichert getting key blocks, enabling McDonald Ashford to get the yardage.
His older brother played wide receiver at Illinois not that long ago.
Ronald?
Your kidder, it's a fumble. And Tulane recovers the fumble. Quentin Brown, number 4, stifles the BYU drive.
And that's really what Tulane needed, because up to this point, their defense had not stopped them at all. And that's got to be frustrating for BYU, although Tulane. Here's the options you pointed out, short side. He one-hands it. That's an excellent job by the defensive man, in this case, number 91. That was Keenan Blackman, who strips him of the ball. Doman unaware from the backside. McDonald Ashford hustles in. But to the credit of Quentin Brown, he puts his body down, separates McDonald Ashford from the ball, and comes up with a turnover for the Green Wave.
The first forced turnover of the game by either side. First down and 10 for Tulane from its own 19-yard line. They trail by 7 points. Moore on the inside handoff. Noel Moore has a gain of 5. It was second down about 5.
It's a nice play by Enna. Enna gets blocked down, is able to bounce back up and still make the play. Number 55, 107 tackles on the season last year, and as we pointed out at the top of the show, it was 91 degrees, but now that we're getting deeper into the afternoon, it might be closer to 95, and you can see all the cool zone fans there, and there's the leader of the defense for BYU, number 55.
Second down and 4 to go for Tulane. Incomplete. Roy Darrell Williams was thinking about running before he actually caught that ball.
You know, as you said that, as broadcasters were so cliche for that, but if there was a clinic for that, that's what it was right there. Exactly right. Wide open. Watch him turn and start to go before the ball's there. Right there, and the ball drops. Ramsey goes, nuts, come on. Gotta have those.
Williams, a all-conference USA freshman selection last year. That's about 2-to-1 passing to rushing. Not what they were hoping to do come into this game. Ramsey scrambles and gets the first down for Tulane at the 33.
You pointed out earlier, he may not be a great scrambler, but what he does do, which is really sharp, is he understands the defense. They come with the blitz from the outside. He knows there's a person missing in the middle of the field. He doesn't wait to throw. He heads up the field and gets the first down. Great awareness on the part of number 7.
Former javelin champion at the Pan Am Games back in 1997, so quite an athlete in his own right. Going over the middle, picked off. Walkenhorst brought down to the 25, so the Cougar defense answers with a turnover of its own. The 6'5" sophomore pressed into action last year because of injuries, gaining valuable experience, big play.
And you pointed out what it is. There's number 47 right there. At 6'5", Ramsey flat out does not see him. He comes into his vision, is able to pick it out and head up the field. He started last year, Walkenhorst did, as a true freshman. That's something that doesn't happen very often at Brigham Young University. But at 6'5", 250 pounds, and he shows some athleticism there. Excellent outside backer.
Dropping back into coverage. And doing the job. First down and 10. BYU working on a short field. Staley on the fake handoff. It's Doman keeping it down to the 12-yard line. Doman really a good ball handler, Todd. He sold that fake.
He did indeed.
Really sold it.
And again, Doman, I think that this is a great call on the part of Crowton, not because of the result of the play, but certainly Doman saying to himself, oh no, I fumbled the last one, I'm frustrated. Crowton saying, don't worry about it, we've got confidence in you, go ahead and run the ball again. And
he picks up the first down. Doman has run the ball 6 times for a total of 90 yards. They set up the screen, and that one was blown up right from the start almost.
Well, it appeared that Staley actually tripped over his man Teague Whiting. And that's a very odd call. You don't see screen passes called very often inside the 20. And the reason for that is because obviously defensive backs can't get back as far as they would be in the field of play.
Sets up second down and 11 to go from the 13-yard line. BYU trying to convert after that interception by Walkenhorst. They come back the other way, wide open. Touchdown Cougars. They slid a man out and end up scoring. Gabriel Reed, the tight end.
You talked about the number of tight ends that they have at Brigham Young that are quality players. Gabe Reed is one of them. A 4'5", 40-man, 250 pounds. A terrific blocker at the point of the tackle. Remember, we featured him on Staley's touchdown earlier. The misdirection goes completely to the right. He does a great job of hiding. I used to love that route myself. You fall down and you act like, oh my goodness, you know, I can't get up, and everybody's going the other direction. You come across, Doman puts it right on the money. A touchdown for Reed.
Matt Payne in for another extra point. His 5th of the day, and BYU has taken a 14-point lead. Brandon Doman doing the job as the starter this year, delivering it right on target.
Nando Mania, coming August 28th, only on ESPN Classic.
Look, we got a lot to do today, so let's make this quick. Get what you need, we're out of here. Agreed?
Yes.
We know how you feel, and that's why you can shop online and pick up at a nearby store the same day, or we'll ship to you. Circuit City, we're with you.
I think that went really well.
We are classic car nuts.
We love these cars, and we spend hours and hours talking about them.
When this car needs tires, I take it to Walmart
because they really do handle it with care. I stand there right outside the bay and watch.
Everything one stop. You've got it right here.
They have name brands. They have great prices.
I need some carburetor cleaner. I like Michelin's on this car.
Personally, I'm a Goodyear man.
Brand name tires, oil changes, and more at Walmart Tire and Lube Express.
Our wives really wonder who we're married to, these cars or them.
Hey, don't walk like a cop, all right?
You say you're serious about doing some good in the real world. Well, this is the place to learn.
Even those sworn to protect
Please get away from the door!
are human.
What's wrong with street justice?
Oh, just let the animals wipe themselves out.
God willing.
Even those dedicated to keeping the peace can cross the line.
That's what I'm talking about.
Denzel Washington.
You think I'm crazy, right?
Ethan Hawke.
I think you're a road cop.
Training Day. Rated R. Starts September 21st.
ESPN2's presentation of college football is brought to you by Circuit City. We know how you feel. That's why we're here. Circuit City, we're with you.
35-21 back at Provo, Utah, Lavelle Edwards Stadium. The new era beginning today as head coach Gary Crowton, his team leading by 14. It's all about the acting, Todd.
Okay, a little thespian. Watching the part of number 42, you're going to see right here, oh, look at that, I'm down. Oh, I can't possibly come back in the play. I'm out. Don't worry about me. Oh, my gosh, look out. Oh, my goodness, I'm wide open. Gabriel Reed fooled them all. And that's a nice throw by Doman. What you don't want to do in that situation is lead him perfectly or try and make it. He just throws a pillow. 42 comes up with it. Touchdown.
Trickeration. Hockey takes a knee 7 yards deep. They'll start at the 20, down 14. Let's go back to the studio and Reese.
All right, Mark, Virginia desperately trying to get back in it against Wisconsin in the Eddie Robinson Classic. This is a 4th down play and about 28 to go. Bryson Spinner trying to pick somebody out. He's already hooked up with Billy McMullen for a touchdown once today, and McMullen can't come down with it. It is now a final. The Badgers on their way to Oregon next week, win it 26-17.
Now that'll be a killer game.
Oh,
Wisconsin, Oregon, that'd be sweet.
Oregon.
They'll be rocking in Eugene, my hometown. Dad and Mom, I hope you go.
Yeah, Mike Bellotti really did a great job there. Little miscommunication in the backfield, and Brent Hockey is brought down for a loss. The defense swarming a little bit now for the Cougars.
Michael Marquardt is the one who's able to make the play, and you're absolutely right, a little bit. Here he comes in, and really he gets blocked right into the man, and you do what you can to make something happen, but give Marquardt credit with the strong hands, able to hang on to the jersey before help arrives.
Can you call it a drought if Tulane's offense hasn't scored in 2 or 3 possessions?
Based on the first quarter, you can indeed.
Yes, so 2nd down and 14. Ramsey gets rid of it. Complete to Harris. Working his magic. Harris lunging for the 1st down marker. About 1.5 yards shy at the 28-yard line.
And once again, Ramsey is knocked down. You notice this now. The pass rush is coming because one of the things that Ken Schmidt pointed out is we're going to have to use 7 or 8 or 9 people. Marquardt new in the game. They're getting on top of the quarterback.
Look at Harris, the main receiver for Tulane so far. The leading receiver returning this season for Tulane. Got 64 passes for over 600 yards a season ago. Doing well today. 3rd and short. And it's a 1st down. Moore carrying it out to the 32-yard line. They'll move the chains.
That's a great effort. That's a great effort. Initially in the backfield, he was hit.
Out across the 34 at Greenway.
He was able to move his feet forward.
Moore gained over 890 yards a season ago.
CJIU looked like he might have had him in the backfield, but number 26 has his legs working for the 1st down. Good effort.
Coaches say that him playing baseball this summer had a lot of benefits. 1st down and 10. 9 minutes to play in the 1st half. Inside handoff once again. Or maybe gaining 1 on that play.
This is a little bit surprising, and I think one of the reasons they're doing this, that Coach Selfo has opted to run the ball a little bit more here, is that Ramsey is taking a bit of a beating here the last couple of series. He's been getting whacked a little bit, so they want to give him a break because clearly in the no-huddle situation, he's not going to get a break running this offense. And so let's run a little bit, get your feet under you, you'll be okay.
Selfo's offensive line suffering some casualties in training camp on the left side of the line. Ramsey had a man open at the 49-yard line. That was the tight end Hoover, but it's incomplete.
There's a late flag, and Justin Enna is going to get called for roughing the passer right at the end of the play.
Costly too on 3rd and long. Costly to BYU. Folks, tomorrow on ESPN2, it's college football in prime time. That's right, 8 o'clock Eastern time, 5 Pacific. Fresno State battles Craig Ox and the Colorado Buffaloes in the Jim Thorpe Classic. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Colorado trying to get back into the ranks of the elite in college football under Gary Barnett.
Jim Thorpe Classic, pride of Carlisle. Winner of the 1912 Olympic pentathlon and decathlon. Watch the end of the play right here. He hits him right in the head. Now watch, he puts the hands up like this. The flag hasn't come in. Ramsey rolls over, and there's the flag. It's actually a good call. Enna shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have gone head to head. The official's right there.
Gives Tulane a 1st down at its own 45-yard line. Narcisse in motion. Inside handoff to Hockey. And Hockey brought down 2 yards short of the 1st down. The 48-yard line.
You know, we talk about the fact that they go to the running game, but slowly but surely now they're across midfield, and it's been fairly effective for them. We're seeing a lot of different numbers and a lot of different names in the game. To give Tulane credit, down 2 touchdowns and driving, and effectively.
It's going to be up to Sewell, Drysdale, Tully, Caldwell, and Bug up front. Provide some seams for Moore and Hockey if they do plan on continuing to run the ball. which they do here, not finding much success either.
And once again, there's Ryan Denny in the backfield. He's having a terrific game, not only in pass rush, but against the run. 6'7", 280 pounds, certainly a pro prospect, because one of the things they like about defensive ends that can play both, that they're not situational. Somebody like Denny can play every down against the run and the pass.
Gives them 3rd down and 4. Pressure and brought down. Sacked back at the 40.
Well, it's become the Ryan Denny show. For whatever reason, and this is what we had talked about at the top, Mark, was the inability of the offensive line. If they're going to go to their 4 wide receiver packages, they can't double anybody. They have to single up. Watch the left of your screen. Denny, once again, is going to break through. Actually, he broke through a bit of a double team to make that sack. Great first half for number 92, the pride of Thornton, Colorado.
His brother, John, is a sophomore defensive lineman for BYU. Their father played at BYU from 1971 to 1973. Bloodlines running deep here in Provo for the Denny's. Roussel punting on 4th down.
Not so good, a little bit low.
Line drive. Still on his feet. Riddell with a nice return. And a flag, a late flag, might have been a face mask. Rigel making up for that fumble, that miscue earlier. That was a returnable punt right from the jump.
You're absolutely right. It was a low punt, and Rigel has to feel pretty good about himself after the one that he had earlier. Take a look at, here it is, up the sidelines, gets some nice blocks. Great field position for BYU when you come back. Still up, 2 touchdowns.
Muchas gracias, guys. Bartender, Bud Lights for the band.
Oh, no.
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
Always changing, rearranging, get into the new.
How about McDonald's new taste menu? It's something new.
Let it out from within. Take the world for a ride.
Something's different. Something's changing all the time.
Always changing, rearranging, get into the new. Old and new favorites just waiting for you.
McDonald's new taste menu. The place to look when you're looking for a change.
On September 7th, a son will avenge his father.
I couldn't stop it.
You're a boy.
A soldier will defend a nation.
He wants revenge. He wants to be a musketeer.
All for one!
And an amazing story.
Come on!
I will kill him.
Will be completely reimagined. The Musketeer, rated PG-13, at theaters Friday, September 7th.
College football Saturday kicks off as the defending national champs look to keep their unbeaten streak alive. North Carolina, Oklahoma, 7:45 Saturday on ESPN.
Welcome back, everyone, to the 5th annual Black College Association Classic. Black Coaches Association Classic. Mark Jones along with Todd Christensen and Dave Ryan, 35-21. The Black Coaches Association continuing to further the development and growth of minorities in sports, domestically and internationally. And here we go again. That juggernaut continues to roll on. Ord making the catch that time. Algier making the stop. Let's go downstairs to Dave Ryan.
Well, Mark, you talked about the BCA. The president, Bob Minix from Florida State, and associate AD is with us. The main mission of your organization, what is it?
Our main mission, of course, is to give our minority coaches an opportunity to develop to the point where perhaps one day they can be head coaches. We've expanded that mission where now we're trying to do the same for our administrators. And also we do a lot of postgraduate awards for our high school kids, hoping one day they'll come into the profession.
115 Division 1A jobs. Only 5 right now belong to black coaches. There were 25 changes in the offseason. 1 went to a black coach. How does the trend get reversed?
Well, I think what we need to do, we need to get more people on board. I think we need to get the president of the university on board in terms of what the issue is all about. We're going to get more involved with the mentorship programs in terms of getting more of our coaches involved with people who are in the business presently. So we hope between getting more people involved in the mentorship program, we hope that that will give us a more of a wider spectrum in terms of this issue.
It's great to see you, Bob. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Bob, guys, as well.
And this one is picked up, almost picked off and caught. It's going to be run into the end zone. Snead again.
A flag down, though.
Back at the 25-yard line, it was tipped by Wesley Heath. Wait and see if this one's going to stand.
Holding on the defense will be declined. We have a touchdown.
Yes, it will.
Now, if this is 30 years ago in the Super Bowl, remember the Mel Renfro play?
Yeah.
Look at that. But actually, it was nothing but defenders. Now, watch at the end of the play, a crushing block. I believe that's Justin Anderson, who enables Need to get in for his second touchdown of the day.
BYU now leading by 3 touchdowns.
So 42-21, if he makes it mean anything to you?
Got to ask Luke Staley about that. Right down the pipes.
Keep it going, baby!
Well, you know, I don't know if, was it Wally Pipp or Leo DeRocher? One of them said it's better to be lucky than good, right? And certainly in this case, BYU is very lucky as they doubled the score of the Green Wave.
Every inch, every second counts. Because every race is the most important race in all their lives. At 190 miles an hour, that's drama. That's NASCAR. See NASCAR's heroes race for the championship on TNT.
Sponsored by Midas. Brakes, exhaust, maintenance, service. Next February, we've got the home snow. The Winter Olympics in our house, Salt Lake City, 2002. See it on the networks of NBC.
To advertise within the 2002 Olympic Games, call AT&T Media Services at 503-535-6120.
Tonight, it's the International Little League World Series Championship. The winner faces the United States to determine the Little League World Series champion. The Little League World Series presented by Honda, Netherlands Antilles versus Japan, 8 o'clock tonight on ESPN2.
Barry Bonds approaching Ruth and Maris, McGuire, Sosa, the only guys who've ever reached 60. Now Barry Bonds right there.
Watch Bonds come to New York to chase history. Giants Mets, Sunday Night Baseball presented by Nextel, 8 o'clock Sunday.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Black Coaches Association Classic, the 5th edition. BYU leading Tulane 42-21. Exactly the score that Luke Staley had predicted in an ESPN.com chat earlier this week.
But not with 5:52 remaining in the first half, he didn't.
No. Brent Hockey and Xander Robinson back deep for Tulane. They need a score. And they're going to get a good run back here and a fumble. Hockey coughed it up.
It looked to me like the fullback was able to come up with that. I think it was Chris Coleman who was able to come up with it for Tulane. Certainly he was the guy that was there first. And just as you pointed out earlier, problems in the kicking game. We had a long return by Rigel setting up a score. Now this could get Tulane right back in the game.
Special teams, and Tulane will retain possession of the ball. Hockey with a nice burst of speed out over the 30.
Turns out it was Blake Baker, a reserve linebacker, who was able to come up with it. Great strip of the ball by number 31 for Brigham Young. That was Kurt Elliott. But in the scramble for the ball, you can see there's Coleman. Look at the strip right here. That's a great job. Great job by Elliott. But here comes Coleman. He's going to get there first. He's got it between his legs, and he's the one that comes up with it.
First down and 10 from the 45-yard line for the Green Wave. Backs out of the eye, one of the few times we've seen this formation today. And they run it successfully. Moore gains about 7 at the 37-yard line. It'll be second down at about 3 to go for Tulane.
I can't help but think that one of the concerns has to be Ramsey has been getting knocked around a little bit. We haven't seen him drop back like the 3 or 4 or 5 straight times that he did in the first quarter.
The question remains and begs still as to whether Tulane can be successful constantly running the ball. They get the first down. Moore with 5:03 to play in the first half. Mark Jones along with Todd Christensen, Dave Ryan down on the sidelines. We didn't expect this many points. We expected a lot of scoring, but to think that Crowton would come out and his troops put so many points on the board early has to be a bit of a surprise.
Well, the thing that surprises me is that, as well as the fact that how effective they've been able to run the ball. If you would have told me that they'd have nearly 300 yards rushing in the first half, I'd have told you, what game are you watching? But again, that offensive line, the experienced offensive line, is doing a tremendous job for the Cougars.
His offense, Crowton's offense, based a lot more on reads than Lavelle's Edwards was. Here to the first man through. Coleman gains about 2 yards, and look at the length of the last 3 scores. Less than a minute each one.
That looks like your 400-meter time.
Close enough. All right. Close enough. But now what does Coach Selfo do to get his team back into it? What kind of adjustments you figure they got to make offensively, Tom?
Well, I like what they're doing, frankly. Yes, they're down 3 touchdowns, but I like they're running the ball, give their quarterback a little bit of a break, shake up the defense a little bit. Nice kick return. I mean, they're in pretty good shape here, but they do need to convert their third down here. They can get a touchdown, get it to 28, down by 14 at half. As effective and as explosive as the offense has been, you know, they're still in the game, but clearly the issue here is Tulane's defense. You know, Aaron Edmonds, the terrific all Mountain West Conference punter for BYU, has not seen the light of day. Yeah. And the reason for that is the ineffectiveness of Tulane's defense.
Now here the Green Wave in a 3rd down and 6. Harris has been their go-to guy so far today. And Harris lines up in the slot left of the quarterback. Narcisse in motion. It's Harris on a little option route.
Catch.
And he lunges forward, but he'll be short of the first down at the 25-yard line. Nice tackle by Moaga on the play.
It was, but boy, that is a terrific catch reaching back for it. And I'm guessing here that at the 25 right down the middle, 4th and 2, I'm thinking they're going to go for it.
And that's what exactly they're going to do. 4th and 2. First down, hits his big target, the tight end, Hoover. Bobby Hoover, a freshman who impressed the coaching staff during summer and spring drills.
You know, it's impressive to me, and we keep singing the praises of Ramsey, but here he is up to this point. When has Hoover seen a ball? He hasn't, right? So on a crucial 4th and 2, who does he go to? He still goes to the freshman. He sees the entire field. I think that is the most significant prerequisite for a quality quarterback, is the ability to see the field, and Ramsey has done a nice job of that today.
Well, for Hoover, after a play like that, he's not a freshman anymore.
Yep.
First down and 10. On the 17-yard line.
Something else that is happening here. This is something that Coach Selfo wants to do. Clearly here he's telling him, take as much time as you can, because the best defense right now for them is the ability to keep BYU's offense off the field, because their defense has done nothing. So they want to consume some time here. They want to go in. They want to go into halftime 42-28.
And one more score on the board would be paramount at this point. Those things coming up on the Saturday halftime report. Might have been a fumble down there. Moore on the carry. He was stopped up running between the tackles again.
You know, if you're Mwelde Moore, you have to say to yourself sometimes, I wonder how effective he might be in an I formation where he gets his 25 carries a game.
Something a little more traditional?
Sure. But again, you know, he understood coming to Tulane, this is the way it was. 890 yards, though, as a true freshman is impressive. I'm guessing that young man's going to see 1,000 this year. What do you think? Yeah,
I would say so. I'd agree with you. Based on the success that he's having today and the success he had last season. Ramsey has time. It was tipped at the line of scrimmage by Kiesel. And it's incomplete. It'll be 3rd down and long again for Tulane.
Well, we've talked a lot about how Ramsey continues to get hit. And boy, oh boy, he just got whacked. You can see Kiesel just drops him. Watch Kiesel. He comes in on a stunt. Just, oh, man. You know what? I don't care if you're 235 pounds. And I don't care if you're in a tremendous shape. And I don't care if you have rib pads. That still hurts.
Looking at a 5-receiver set. Empty formation. Narcisse in motion. Ramsey into the end zone, overthrows his receiver. He might have just thrown that one away.
And they're going to call roughing the passer on Isaac Kelly. He had a run at it, and I'm not sure about this, the timing of this. It was clear that Kelly just barreled down and decided that he wanted to whack him. But you know what? And I'm genuinely not trying to be whimsical here, but I really think that the referee David Neal is really trying to protect Ramsey. He has seen him take a lot of shots today. You'll get a chance to see this at the end.
Second time we've seen a flag called in such an instance.
Roughing the passer, defense, half the distance, 1st down.
Now watch as he rolls from the right of your screen. Isaac Kelly gets a full run at it and hits him right there. I'm not sure if he went to his head or not. You can't quite see from this angle. Now let's take a look and see where he hits him. Boy, that's tough. That's really tough. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that call at all. But again, give Mr. Neal credit. He's trying to protect the quarterback.
1st and goal, empty formation, incomplete. And the 3 intended for Williams. And let's go back to the studio. Reese.
All right, Mark, coming up on the Saturn halftime report, we, of course, will have highlights of the games played earlier this afternoon. Nebraska and Eric Crouch's first game of the season. We'll also check in at Norman, where the defending national champions getting ready to get started. And Rod and I will have a discussion, Rod, offering some possible solutions to the lack of black coaches in Division I football. Guys?
All right, thanks a lot, Reese. 10th play of the Tulane drive coming up. They badly need a score before the end of the period. Moore. Touchdown, there it is. Mwelde Moore with the score. And Tulane leaps back into this thing.
Moore does a nice job at the end of sidestepping people. But again, give Ramsey credit. Ramsey's the one that hung in there after getting whacked these number of times. He has the 3 wide receivers, runs the other direction. Moore is simply in the flat. Now watch as he makes it. It's just an easy play. Guilford can't make the play. He comes in standing up. And this is what they wanted, 42-28. Now it remains to be seen what BYU can do with remaining minute and a half with their own 2-minute offense.
Which has been plenty of time today for both offenses.
In the first half of play, your BYU Cougars 42, Tulane
Patrick Ramsey leading his team down the field on a 10-play driving score. BYU's turn when we come back.
Guess I came up a little short back there. I know I heard some engine hesitation as you tried to pass. You sure? Gun it.
See? You should have used the gum out I gave you. Would that have helped? Of course.
Gum out fuel additives can unclog fuel injectors in a single tank full.
Thanks, Mike.
Gum out. You never know when you'll need it.
Ouch. Yeah, that's gonna bruise.
So, guys, what do you think of the new place?
You are big-time Mr. Mortgage Guy.
Very chic. Better than the barn you live in.
You've become tidy.
There's coasters around here. Aren't we fastidious?
You're neat.
Alphabetical order? Not here.
You have rules. And a pantry, or as you call it, your staging area.
Hold back.
Pity he who messes with big-time Mr. Mortgage Guy. Life's an ongoing project. Ace.
I'd like a latte, please.
Do you have an appointment? Grab a ticket. We'll be with you in just a minute.
Yeah.
Coffee houses are popular. Very popular. Well, what if you just want coffee house style coffee in an instant? Folgers Cafe Latte. Rich, creamy, delicious coffee house coffee without the coffee house. So it's not the coffee you drink to take a break from your day. It's the coffee you drink to break into it. Folgers Cafe Latte.
Magazine? Book? Anybody?
Welcome back, everyone, to Lavelle Edwards Stadium here in Provo, Utah, for the Black Coaches Association Classic, the 5th edition, BYU against Tulane. And what a scoring fest this has been so far in the first half. Set to kick off is Tulane. Rigel back deep along with Brian McDonald Ashford. That last scoring drive of 4 minutes and 26, that's what it used on the clock. Time elapsed was the longest so far of the game. Rigel. Ball knocked loose and BYU got it back. It's been that type of day.
Unbelievable. McDonald Ashford is able to come up with it.
Let's go downstairs to Dave Ryan.
All right, guys, I might need a ladder for the interview. Thurl Bailey, former Utah Jazz great, is here, 12 years in the NBA. You sang the national anthem today, so basketball's off your mind a little bit. What else are you up to?
Well, you know, I released the CD about a year and a half ago, and I'm on my way to releasing the Christmas one for this Christmas. But other than that, just getting ready for the Jazz season to do kind of what you're doing right now.
Still a Jazz analyst on TV. Now, you never played football. I think you would have been a good linebacker, defensive end, reaching up there, but do you miss playing basketball, the competition of pro sports?
You know, you love the sport. I played it for 16 years, 4 of those years in Europe, but, you know, my time has passed. There's other guys that are coming in that are a lot better, and it was a great career, and now I'm able to kind of relax and watch the new talent come in.
Good to see you again. Good luck with that singing career.
Thanks a lot.
All right, guys.
Hey, Dave, see if you can get a free CD for Todd and I up
yeah,
there, will you?
Exactly.
Come on.
I'm telling you what, that bass voice is one of the best I've heard in a long time. That could have been at the Met, I'm telling you.
For those of you that weren't able to hear T. Bailey sing the national anthem.
Boy, oh boy, that was terrific.
Reminiscent of Marvin Gaye back at the LA Forum, right? You had people swaying over here a little bit.
I'm telling you. Yeah.
Second down and 11. Plenty of time for the Cougars to put a score on the board. Amani complete, steps out of bounds. Right near the first down marker at the 45-yard line, Meldon Barnes pushed him out.
Driven out of bounds by number 33, Meldon Barnes.
Tulane needed to do a little bit better than that. You had a loss. You had 2nd and 12 or 13. That's a good opportunity for you to make a stand. But clearly, it appears that they're in a bit of their prevent defense, and that enables BYU to get the ball underneath.
Doman, one of the few poor throws that he's made so far today by the intended receiver. It'll be 2nd down and 10, 1:03 to play in the first half.
I would think that if you're Brandon Doman, and of course there's quite a legacy for him in terms of his brothers and those that have come to BYU, there's no way that he could have dreamed that he could do this well in his first half. I mean, there's just no way. The running, the passing, everything.
He's rounded up any better. 2nd down and 10.
Dustin Reichert, a little bit too soon. Backs up. Now, I was going to say, Mark, it's interesting here that BYU, who had been so effective up to this point, looks really sloppy here in this particular drive.
5 yards, 2nd down.
I think that one of the things that Coach Gary Crowton is thinking to himself is, look, you know, we have to have a killer instinct here. We can't just sit on it. And of course, Reichert, when you're out on an island like that as an offensive tackle, sometimes you guess, and you guess wrong and roll back.
Don't forget, folks, stay tuned for the Saturn halftime report, scores and highlights. With Reese Davis and Rodney Gilmore back in the studio. 2nd down and 15 for the Cougars. Doman with time again, complete to Mai over the middle. Gets some of that yardage back to the 38-yard line. He'll be about 3 short of the first down. Trick Godfrey making the tackle.
BYU, I was going to say, this is the first time out since Tulane had to take that timeout with the defense not in the right position.
Everything coming up roses so far for Gary Crowton in his first game as head coach for the Cougars. We'll be back.
Some of these children can tell you. Some of these outstanding coaches can too. Call and ask how you can participate in leveling the playing field in the sports arena, schools, and your community when it comes to equality and fairness in athletics. Administrators, coaches, sports professionals, supporters. Create equal opportunity in sports. Call the Black Coaches Association now at 1-877-789-1BCA. That's 1-877-789-1BCA.
We are a distinguished university in one of the world's most distinctive cities. We are a campus of oak trees, magnolias, and azaleas. We are a culture shaped by our river, our music, and our traditions. We are scholars from every state and every continent. We are scientists and poets and artists and engineers. We are leaders. We are learners. We are Tulane University.
Back here in Provo, Utah, Mark Jones along with Todd Christensen and Dave Ryan. BYU with a 14-point lead as the first half winds down. Luke Staley has been the dominating theme here in the first half. A rebuilt, rejuvenated Luke Staley.
128 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns, but again, we have to give a lot of credit to his offensive line. Have been creating some holes for him.
3rd down and 2. Little option football. McDonald Ashford taking the toss, getting the first down, brought down by Adrian Mitchell.
And that's a great job by Doman to pitch right at the very last minute. It's not as easy as it seems. You sit there and you watch an Eric Crouch do it, you just assume it's easy because he's so good at it in practice. Doman waits to right the last minute, right when the defender commits, then he's able to pitch the ball to McDonald Ashford, who comes up with the first down.
The Cougar fans that showed up so far have to be nodding their heads saying, yeah, you know what, I like this Crowton offense. I like it so far. A little bit of option football back in the books. 1st down and 10. Inside handoff. Donald Ashford again weaving his way, still on his feet. Touchdown. How did he stay up?
The very thing the defensive coordinator Ken Schmidt talked about on his side is the very thing that plagued Tulane. Poor tackling in the secondary. He runs into his own man, but there's nobody in a white shirt to make a tackle. And the result is McDonald Ashford's able to go in for 6.
McDonald Ashford last season led BYU with 8 rushing touchdowns, notching his first of the season today. And it's 48-28 with the extra point to follow.
Well, this is an interesting call because everybody's anticipating a pass. Now as he cuts upfield, he's waiting, and everybody's assuming that somebody else is making the tackle. Instead, he keeps his legs moving, and he's able to get in for the touchdown. Again, you can't say enough about the offensive line, who's done a tremendous job here in the first half to help them get those 49 points on the board. And you mentioned the offense of Gary Crowton. One of the things that he said in the interview that I thought very telling is he said, I have an offense that's adaptable to the personnel that I have. And those that are used to Louisiana Tech, where he threw the ball 45, 50 times a game with Tim Rattay, Troy Edwards, et al., that's not what he has here. And he's done a nice job adapting to the skill people he has on the field.
Yeah, it's interesting. He said what he did at Louisiana Tech was more born out of necessity because of the personnel he had there. And folks, don't forget tomorrow at 2 o'clock Eastern time on ABC, it's the Kickoff Classic. The Orangemen of Syracuse, led by the explosive offense backfield of try to bottle up the Heisman Trophy candidate, quarterback George Godsey of Georgia Tech. Number 13. Boy, I wonder what's going to come of Georgia Tech now that Friedgen's not there anymore. He really was the signature of the offense there for so many years.
He was, but they have so many returning people. And what is it, 3 weeks, Florida State goes to Georgia Tech, and Florida State's lost not only a lot of people to graduation, but the injury bug is just killing them. Everybody feels like this is the year for Florida State to go down in Atlanta.
Oh! The ball hit a Tulane player, and it would be live after that. Matt Payne recovered the ball for BYU. We've seen a little bit of everything.
Now that's bizarre, and I can tell you right now it wasn't intentional. And the reason I say that is clearly there's a situation after the last time where Hockey ran the ball back, had a really nice return. I believe it was Hockey. They said, we don't want that to happen again, so it's a squib kick. Instead, the people up front aren't aware of it. It ricochets, comes back, and it's a gift for BYU. Have you ever seen a situation where the bounces have gone so one-sided? It's unbelievable.
Just the way they drew it up? Maybe not.
And, of course, Payne is the guy who's the farthest back because he kicked it.
Kicked it and got it back, huh?
And it's 6'4", 250. He's no shrinking violet. That's a bruiser for a kicker right there.
The smile says it all.
And I'm sure he went over to the coach and said, listen, you know, later in the game, if we're ever behind later in the season, you want me to do that again? Like he planned it.
Prior to the snap, the defense had 12 men on the field, 5 yards. First down.
You sense that Tulane defensively becoming a little bit disheveled now, Dodd.
I think that's fair to say. It'll be interesting to see what Crowton decides here. 65 yards in 37 seconds. He's got his full wide receiver package on the field.
Flanker screen, read well and brought down at the 32-yard line by Roxy Shelvin.
That's a nice tackle. That's a strong left hand, I'm telling you. I thought he was going to be able to avoid that, but Shelvin able to hang on to him with one hand.
Don't forget, it's the Saturn halftime report. Scores and highlights from the studio with Reese and Ron.
I think BYU is going to be content to let this run out.
Well, for first-year BYU head coach Gary Crowton, it would be the perfect way that he would draw it up. The butterflies are gone. They've put more than enough points on the board. He's feeling good about himself. 49-28. Let's go back to the studio.
And Marcos, more points than BYU scored in any game all of last season. In fact, they were 73rd in the nation in scoring offense. And, you know, we don't want to take away from their offense, but Tulane was 104th in defense, and it doesn't look as if things have gotten a lot better.
Let them play with 15 guys.
Well, they probably need that, or 18 or 20. Coming up on the Saturn halftime report, checking on Eric Crowton. See if that surgically rebuilt shoulder aided the Husker passing game. Bob Stoops, he's going to open defense of the Crown tonight. We'll check in Norman. And why aren't there more black coaches on the sideline in college football? We'll discuss shortly. State back in 1980. He hoped his team wouldn't suffer similar injuries, either physical or psychological, after going into Big Red country. Eric Crouch leading the Huskers. There is Patterson in his regular season debut. He, of course, coached the Mobile Bowl last year. Third quarter, Crouch going to keep it, pick up 42 yards. He becomes the Huskers' career leader in total yards during the game, over 5,500. He passed Tommy Frazier on the all-time list. Still in the third quarter, Crouch needs an eye back to help this offense, Rodney. Thunder Collins getting it.
It wasn't Darren Dietrich. Collins stepped in for him today, and boy, did he show some speed to the outside on the option. A couple of touchdowns on the day.
Collins rushed for 71 yards. Keep your eye here on John Turntine from TCU at the line of scrimmage. Play sort of got stood up in there, and then Turntine had a little difficulty getting to his feet. Players obviously concerned him with the rash of injuries we saw last year. It's a very scary thing. Turned out to be a precautionary measure when they took him off the field. We're pleased to report that Turntine has feeling, he has movement, and he is traveling back to Fort Worth with the team. Nebraska wins it by a count of 21-7.
Yeah, they won it by that count, but they struggled offensively. The passing game was not good. The offensive line, porous. TCU, about 12 tackles for losses.
Crouch putting up good numbers as he's a preseason Heisman type of candidate, throwing for 151 yards and the interception. The Eddie Robinson Classic, Virginia and Wisconsin. Antoine Womack, this is not what Al Groh wanted to see in his debut. He had an ankle injury early. Then Brooks Bollinger scrambling and falls on his stomach. They were calling it a hurt belly.
A hurt belly in football.
I don't know if that's official or not. Third quarter, Bryson Spinner looking for Billy McMullen.
Oh, size advantage, about 6'3", over the 5'10" corners at Wisconsin. They needed to work that more often.
13-10 Badgers. Then it's Jim Sorgi who was in there for Bollinger to Lee Evans.
Lee Evans is a guy, you know, he's the game breaker. We talked about it before the game, and there he showed up with a big play, and you knew he'd get back in the mix again, Reese.
78 yards this time after the 38-yard touchdown touchdown catch from Sorgi. And I don't know if Wisconsin went full spread, but they were effective in the passing game.
They talked about the spread. All they had to do was spread out Lee Evans, and he was the big show in the second half.
26-17 the final in that one. Womack, they're calling it a sprained ankle, so hopefully Groh will be able to get him back in the lineup shortly. Total offense, Wisconsin 419 yards. Virginia, pretty good showing with 306. Anthony Davis going for 147 at tailback. Coming up tonight on ESPN, Oklahoma, led by Bob Stoops. And, of course, he has the leader of his defense, Rocky Calmus, back. They will open defense of their national title or pursuit of another one against North Carolina. That comes your way at 7:45 Eastern Time. It is preceded by College Game Day, brought to you by Discover Card. And we will check in at Norman with Ron Franklin and Mike Godfrey. Guys getting ready with a little tailgating. And Boomer Sooner, the schooner, is on the road, or at least that one is. We're back in a bit.
You're at a stoplight. You're making a turn. You're pulling into traffic. There are a lot of reasons every 2002 Saturn L Series comes standard with head curtain airbags. Those are just a few. The Saturn L Series.
Get 0.9% APR on a 2002 Saturn L200. For restrictions, see your retailer.
You take care of your engine, right? Change your oil every 3,000 miles. I don't think so. You don't have the time. And you push your luck, blowing off everything you were taught. Better start using reformulated Quaker State. Protection beyond 3,000 miles under any driving conditions. So your engine won't stop you. Because this is no place to find out you've been a bad boy. Reformulated Quaker State. What more do you need to know?
Whoa! I think I caught something. What'd you catch? A cold? Hey, there's $1. Ooh, I'll get it. Don't scare the fish. It's just $1. $1 buys a lot with 10, 10, 220. All calls up to 20 minutes are only 99 cents.
And just 7 cents a minute after 20.
That's cheap. How do you use it?
Dial 10, 10, 220, 1, and then the number.
I'm gonna get that $1. I saw it first. I saw it first.
Dial 10, 10, 220.
Get it!
Back on the Saturn halftime report, you know, a lot of coaching changes in college football. John Bunting taking over at North Carolina. His schedule already had Texas and Florida State in the first month of the season. Why not add another one and play Oklahoma to start things off? We'll have it for you on ESPN tonight at 7:45. Ron Franklin and Mike Godfrey will be there to call it for us. Guys?
Thanks, guys. You cannot believe the anticipation here in Norman, Oklahoma. The reason for that, the Sooner faithful, they won another back-to-back national championship. They did it in the 50s. They also did it in the 70s. And they say, why not in the 2000s? Well, we talked with Bobby Stoops yesterday. Most people, after they have a very good year, look to maintain. But in talking to Coach Stoops, that's not his approach at all.
Our attitude going into this year is to improve, without question. And I've said all along that we have a chance, to clarify that, a chance to be better this year because of the added experience. We were a very young team a year ago with 23 freshmen and sophomores in our two deep that are now sophomores and juniors. We've got, we're a faster, stronger team overall by numbers coming into this year. So those are solid reasons that we have a chance to be better.
A lot of young people played in that national championship team last year, as he just said. But, Mike, the X factor, Nate Hibble, brand new quarterback. What about it?
Ron, this can be a good football team, but you're right. Nate Hibble may prove he can do it tonight. But that's a question mark that has to be answered. He had a great camp, only threw 1 interception in 500 attempts. You look at their schedule, they got to play Kansas State, Texas back-to-back. They got to go to Lincoln, Nebraska to play the Nebraska Cornhuskers. They got the championship game, and they got the bullseye on them from the defending national championship.
That's right, from the get-go. It's exactly right. John Bunting, the new head coach at North Carolina. Well, this is a difficult place to play, and I know it's been warm in the Carolinas, but folks, I'll tell you, North Carolina's not a very deep football team, and at kickoff time, it's going to be well over 100 degrees down on the field. We'll see if that takes its toll or not. Back to you.
All right, Ron, that'll test the conditioning. Nate Hibble hasn't started a football game since 1997 for Hazelhurst, Georgia against Brooks County, and I guarantee you Brooks County didn't have a Julius Peppers he'd have to deal with.
You talk about heat. Julius Peppers can bring a little heat. He led the country in sacks last year with 15. That North Carolina defense had 53 sacks as a team. They have 8 seniors coming back, so it's a veteran team that can put some pressure on Hibble. So he's going to get a little baptism by fire tonight.
And Jason White sitting there waiting in the wings, although they have defined clearly Hibble's number 1 and White is number 2, and Peppers will be after whoever's back there for sure. We're at halftime. Tulane and BYU. It's a 49-28 game in the BCA Classic, and we will discuss after the break why there aren't more black coaches in college football. Rod has some solutions.
Now through Sunday, it's Car Stereo City's 9th annual tent sale next to Mall 205. Meet factory reps from Sony, Clarion, Pioneer, Rockford Fosgate, and more. Speakers $7, car decks with speakers $17, Rockford subs $27, car alarms $37, CD players $47, remote 6-disc CD changers $87, car decks and 12-disc CD changers $137. Nokia wireless phones better than free, plus $110 cash back, $100 free accessories, and 3,400 minutes of talk time from AT&T for only $39.99 per month. Hurry to Car Stereo City next to Mall 205.
Do you like working on high-performance equipment and precision machines? Do you welcome challenges and enjoy being part of a winning team? Then you might qualify to be a Toyota technician. Clark College has developed an industry partnership with Toyota Corporation. Through the Toyota Technical Education Network, Clark College has become an official T10 training facility. Students are provided current training aids, including recent model Toyotas to work on. If you want to be part of a winning team, then contact Clark College today. Call 992-2309.
Halftime of the Black Coaches Association Classic. BYU leading Tulane 49-28. You know, during the offseason, Rod, there were 25 head coaching positions available in college football, more than we've had at any time in the last 2 decades. Only one of them went to an African-American coach, that being Fitz Hill at San Jose State. Now, obviously, more than half of the players on scholarship across the country are of African-American heritage, and it's sort of left many of the coaches frustrated.
There has not been an honest attempt to hire people that are truly talented, and especially those of color.
Since 1982, there have been 335 head coaching vacancies at the Division I institutions, and only 17 have been African Americans have been hired.
I think, very honestly, the numbers speak for themselves. That it's really an embarrassment to all of football, and not just African American coaches or minority coaches, because the process right now is truly denying them opportunity.
You just want an equal opportunity to be a head football coach, and it's so disheartening to think that you may not get that opportunity because of your color.
We mentioned only 1 out of 25 this year. Only 5 of the 117 head coaches in Division 1A football are African American. The troubling thing about this, or one of many troubling things about it, that number is down from 1996, and there are more positions available, and only 2 in the major conferences are African American. That's down from 5 in 1996. The 2 in the major conferences now, Bobby Williams at Michigan State and Tyrone Willingham at Stanford.
Well, the numbers are even worse when you start looking at the numbers for coordinators, the positions that lead to head coaching positions. 230-plus positions available, and there are less than 10 African Americans who are coordinators. That's a terrible situation. Now, you say, how can this be? Well, the process is flawed, as Tyrone Willingham said, but no one is saying that it's racism. No one's really concerned about that. It is a flawed process because it's the ultimate insiders club. It's who you know, how well they trust you, are they comfortable with you to bring you on board, and that's been the problem in college football.
Okay, so what do we do to change this? Now, obviously, the numbers, as Tyrone said, speak for themselves, and they do. It should be different. It's just not logical that the numbers should be this way, but what do we do to change it?
Well, you know, the process being so flawed as it is, we've seen the numbers from last year. The athletic directors weren't able to hire folks, and they're like, you've got to get the presidents involved in the first place. The first thing that has to happen is presidents have to make the athletic directors and the head coaches accountable for moving people up. It doesn't mean that they have to dictate who they hire, but they have to ensure that the process is more open. The second thing that has to happen is you have to have mentorship programs. We're talking about a glass ceiling here that's keeping guys from advancing in their chosen career. With a glass ceiling, mentorship programs help. We understand now that the BCA is talking to the NCAA about doing this. There's There's a guy out there by the name of Bill Walsh who did this in the mid-90s, and there were a lot of black coaches who went to his program. They've become coordinators, they've become head coaches. There are other prominent coaches who could benefit from that, who could learn from Walsh and others and institute those programs with the NCAA that could help. And then finally, you have to keep the pipeline full. And in order to do that, at the entry level, graduate assistants, you have to bring in African Americans. Those positions are 2 per team. So there are about 117 Division I-A teams. You've got a chance to have 234 or so positions. Traditionally, those have gone to white males. It's time that they allowed some of the African Americans to get involved, because that's where you start meeting the great coaches and getting on the great staffs, rubbing shoulders, and getting to learn their system. A guy by the name of Gary Crowton was a GA at BYU with Lavelle Edwards, met Mike Holmgren, became an offensive coordinator in the NFL, and now he's the head coach at BYU. It's that kind of exposure, Reese, that exposure that makes a difference for all of these guys.
And Mark May mentioned during our Game Day Roundtable special a couple of days ago, and also part of it is getting the alumni to support it, because you still have to have the dollars, and that falls under the jurisdiction really of the athletic director sort of rallying the troops.
Well, that's true, and I think everyone you talk to about this problem, whether you're talking about assistant coaches or athletic directors, they agree. It's not that people don't want to do the right thing. The coaches and the athletic directors are interested, but there's no one person to go to and say, how do we get this done? It's time for some leadership to happen in this area, and it would be nice if some boosters also helped out and got on board with the program.
And real quickly, when we're sitting here next year, is this problem better, the same, or worse?
I don't think it's going to improve within a year. I think we can start, but I don't think it would happen.
Well, let's hope we get started and it will improve somewhere down the line. We've got more football coming up for you this weekend. ABC has the kickoff classic. Syracuse and highly regarded Georgia Tech. The Yellow Jackets, some believe, have a chance to unseat Florida State in the ACC. We have had some big-time numbers in the first half. Oh, Luke Staley ripping off about 16 yards a carry. 8 carries for $127, 3 touchdowns. The Cougars are up 49-28.
You're at a stoplight. You're making a turn. You're pulling into traffic. There are a lot of reasons every 2002 Saturn L Series comes standard with head curtain airbags. Those are just a few. The Saturn L Series.
Get 0.9% APR on a 2002 Saturn L200. For restrictions, see your retailer.
My can's busted, but I don't tear up. I put on a happy face.
Need a rabies shot, but I cheer up.
I need body work and a neck brace.
When Mother Nature throttles me, I don't sit and whine. When I spend, I'm getting back cash all over the place. So I put on a high-rise.
The Discover Card with Cashback Bonus for the slightly smarter consumer.
Well, I grew up in this area and always wanted to come back to BYU and coach here. The players are well disciplined and they have great work ethic. They like to serve and to help other people. I see them out all the time working at the elementary schools, working at Special Olympics. I think they are role models. They are students, and we are trying to educate these young men in becoming very good people, not just football players.
Still closing in on the start of the NFL season. Monday Night Countdown presented by Wrangler comes your way Monday night, 6:30 Eastern Time. Mike Tirico is your host for that, and they will get you ready for the Quincy Carter-led Dallas Cowboys against the Oakland Raiders.
Go Bulldog.
Monday Night Football, and it's live at 8 o'clock Eastern Time on ABC. We still have a second half of football. I guarantee you the Cowboys and Raiders will not score as much in the whole game as BYU and Tulane have scored in the first half. Second half coming in a bit.
Need work? Last year, WorkSource helped more than 260,000 people find jobs. WorkSource is a smart place to start. Call WorkSource or go to WorkSource.com. Jobs for people, people for jobs.
All across the country, people have places to go, things to do, so they go Midas. Alignment, we do that. Air conditioning, we do that. Brakes, we do that. So for total car care by certified technicians and our nationwide guarantee, who does it all? Midas.
Stop in now for our $69.95 two-wheel Car Keeper brake service. Includes installation, a 45-point inspection, and a road test.
Midas, we do that.
Need work? Last year, WorkSource helped more than 260,000 people find jobs. WorkSource is a smart place to start. Call WorkSource or go to WorkSource.com. Jobs for people, people for jobs.
These children can tell you. Some of these outstanding coaches can too. Call and ask how you can participate in leveling the playing field in the sports arena, schools, and your community when it comes to equality and fairness in athletics. Administrators, coaches, sports professionals, supporters. Create equal opportunity in sports. Call the Black Coaches Association now at 1-877-789-1BCA. That's 1-877-789-1BCA.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Black Coaches Association Classic, the fifth renewal of the game. 49-28 at halftime. And if you're a BYU fan, you say, what does Luke Staley do for an encore after running for 128 yards in the first half?
That's a very good question. I think there's a tendency when a team scores as many points and gets up like it does to get a little bit flat. Now Gary Crowton, his responsibility will be to continue to fire up his troops to keep going, even though they do have a 3-touchdown lead.
Staley with 3 touchdowns so far in the ball game, 128 yards on 8 rushes, a very fat average of 16 yards per touch.
Well, that's particularly impressive. All of the points that BYU has scored here in the first half, they've only had 42 offensive plays, Mark, and they've scored 7 touchdowns. How'd you like that ratio to score one out of every 6 times, one out of every 6 plays?
Gary Crowton couldn't have drawn it up any better for his debut game. Cougars coming out of their own end zone. Rigel with a nice return, tough running out to the 32-yard line, as BYU will start once again with pretty good field position here to start off the third period. And you know, the coach Crowton talked about his nerves and his feelings before the game. You'd have to say right now he's settled into the job pretty well.
He certainly has, and the thing that's particularly impressive to me, Mark, is the idea that sometimes when you're an offensive guy, you have, this is the way we do things. He hasn't done that. He has adapted to what he has to work with. Certainly nobody would have imagined that BYU would have rushed for 309 yards in the game, let alone the first half.
It's been a while since they've been that productive on the ground. And let's go downstairs to Dave Ryan.
Yeah, Mark, a few moments ago I did talk with Gary Crowton, and as you can imagine, you and Todd mentioned, he's very pleased with the first half. He said it really is great to watch Luke Staley when he's healthy as he's been since he's been around and been part of this program the last 3 years, with a great first half with 3 touchdowns. He also felt his team dominated the line of scrimmage. That'll be a huge key in the second half. I asked him, will you run a lot more to run out clock? He said, I'm still going to mix it up because we're getting off the ball so well. I'm not going to change that one bit.
All right, thanks a lot, Dave. And get the feeling that Staley is continuing to wear down that Tulane defense. Luke still on his feet, down to the 25-yard line.
There's a flag up at the 45. Back at the 45-yard line. But the thing that's particularly impressive about Staley, at 6'1", 220 pounds. I know this is a weird comparison, and this will date me a little bit, but he reminds me a little bit of Dwayne Thomas. Dwayne Thomas at 6'1", 220 didn't look that big, and Staley doesn't look that big. But tacklers just seem to slide off him, and he has an interesting combination of power and speed.
Former Mountain West Conference Freshman of the Year. All-Conference again last season before getting injured.
Holding on the offense, 10 yards, spot of the foul, second down.
That 39-yard gain negated because of the infraction. One more look at it.
Once again, take a look at Doman, who does a great job at the point of attack. There's the holding right there by the wide receiver. And you can see, look at him just break through the tackles. He's just too strong to be arm tackled. Breaks 3 tackles, a terrific run, even though it was called back.
Once again, a little option football that time by the Cougars. Out in the flat, complete. Mai gets some of that yardage back. Out to the 48-yard line, tackled by Adrian Mitchell. The total yards off the charts, off the chain, 487 and 346 respectively.
Pretty amazing, and especially the rushing part of it. I think that BYU, I think a lot of people anticipated that BYU would be dominant at the line of scrimmage because they are bigger and stronger, but certainly not rush for over 300 yards. But again, in fairness to Tulane, they only have 4 returning starters from last year on defense, and all of their linebackers are brand new.
Juniors and freshmen litter the lineup for the Green Wave. Trawick, Boger coming up, making the stop that time from his strong safety spot on the catch.
Soren Halliday is the wide receiver. They've been very successful with that quick screen. A lot of it is dependent upon the receiver's ability to block. In that case, the lead block was made by number 80.
Todd, we've seen a half of football now by BYU. How many similarities do you see between Lavelle Edwards' offense and Coach Crowton's?
Well, it's interesting that you point that out. I frankly, other than scoring a lot of points, I don't see a lot. I mean, meaning that he has numerous formations. That's one of the things that I'm impressed with here. Numerous formations, and he does change up a bit.
There's that pass again. Same receiver.
No, it isn't. That's number 80. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Christensen,
That's what I'm talking about. All right?
How long have you been waiting for that?
That's what I'm talking about. That's right. My eloquence just went out the window because my oldest son just went that. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Am I supposed to? You know what? I'm sorry. I'm not doing this very well. I should be talking about blocks and everything else. But look at those sweet feet. And let me tell you something. That kid's mother is great looking. Man, oh, man. His mother is really beautiful.
Are you going to call him Toby or Christensen? Is this formal or informal? Nice reception by the sophomore. And here's Doman on the quarterback draw. Using his strength, touchdown.
You know, we talked about the numbers. We talked about the numbers, Mark, the interesting numbers that New Mexico last year. He threw for 300, rushed for 50. Now he has the chance to do what only Steve Young has done in the pros, and that's run, throw for 300, and rush for 100. He's got a chance to do that today.
The statistics continue to pile up for BYU, led by quarterback Doman. And he has really shown a great understanding of the offense, some of the nuances, and grasped this new offensive system instituted by Crowton.
Again, we talk about the great skills of Brandon Doman, particularly his ability to run the ball. He has shown that today. Now over 100 yards rushing is Brandon Doman.
ESPN's 2-minute drill CD-ROM. Available wherever software is sold.
Will she feel the same way if you lose your hair?
Sure. She'll just feel it about somebody else.
Don't worry, I love you. Anyway, you don't have to lose it.
Are you talking about Rogaine?
Rogaine? Maybe. Why not?
Rogaine. Yeah, why not? It's simple, it's safe, and it's clinically proven to help stop hair loss and regrow hair. Does she want you to use Rogaine? Better ask.
You know, you never know when you're going to get injured and miss work. That's why I have that supplemental insurance.
What supplemental insurance? Aflac.
It's one that pays you cash for things like lost pay and other expenses. What one? Aflac. Just ask about it at work, right?
What did you say I was?
Aflac!
Aflac. Without it, no insurance is complete.
Wendy's makes late nights great nights, serving up your favorites.
Hello?
Get a Wendy's Classic half-pound double with cheese, even late, because our pickup window's open late.
A big Wendy's thank you goes out to the man in the red minivan.
2 thumbs up for American Pie 2, the #1 movie in America 2 weeks in a row.
We're awful proud of you, son.
Don't miss out on the next chapter of an American classic.
I can taste the bubbles.
American Pie 2, rated R.
ESPN2's presentation of college football is brought to you by Rogaine Extra Strength for Men and by SportsCenter. Which SportsCenter do you watch?
Absolutely resplendent day here in Provo, Utah, and a perfect day for Cougar fans as BYU leads 56-28. Brandon Doman, the starting quarterback, has run and thrown the ball to perfection, executing Coach Gary Crowton's offense.
Well, and one of the things there certainly is they might want, I'm thinking they might want to consider giving Charlie Peterson an opportunity now up for touchdowns.
There's Hockey, and he got rocked. Rocked big time at the 17-yard line. Blown up by Trey Godfrey. And let's go back to the key play in that last scoring drive.
Well, of course, it was actually that could be considered almost rushing yards as number 80, Toby Christensen, makes. Look at me trying to be objective. I'm out of control. That's my kid.
He got his
athleticism.
Got his athleticism from his father, from his mother, right? This is mom. The athletic genes ran on the mother's side.
I thought for sure I'd be objective and handle myself. Obviously, I did.
You've done well up until then.
I apologize. I'm really sorry. It's my kid. What can I say?
Give the ball to 80. I've been hearing it all week, folks.
Well, Grandma and Grandpa, you got to be proud.
The Christensen's abundant here today. The whole family here watching your son play. There he is.
He's got to get a little more buff, though, because see how T. Christensen, you know, it's kind of like, remember Billy Grabarkowitz, that third baseman?
Fill that out a little bit more?
He's got to fill that out a little bit. You got to stretch that out.
Good feet, though.
Yeah, he's got some nice feet. Got terrific hands. He's a lot smarter than his dad, too, right now.
Depth at receiver and a big sack. The defense really starting to play. Denny again.
Well, you know, it's interesting. We keep talking about people that are having career days, Mark. How many are having them? It's like a half dozen guys. Staley, Doman, and Ryan Denny just is not fooled. The guard comes around, tries to get in front of him. Denny does a great job here, shows mobility in dropping Ramsey.
Ball all the way back to the 12-yard line now. 3rd down and 16. To throw. Pocket collapsed right around him, intended for Harris. And it'll be 4th down. They'll have to punt. Let's go downstairs to Dave.
Yeah, guys, just about the worst case scenario for Chris Shelfo, the Tulane head coach. I talked to him at halftime. He was so concerned defensively. His team was getting blown off the line of scrimmage because of the altitude. We're at about 4,500 feet here in Provo, and the guys are really fatigued. They tried as best they could to rehydrate them at halftime, but it's not working. Obviously, some problems to begin the second half defensively. They're very thin. Depth is not one of the strong points with Tulane. They're going to try to roll players, keep them fresh, but it's going to be a long, long haul from here.
Yeah, Dave, that defense at Tulane has been on the field much too long today, and it's not like where they practice down in New Orleans is easy to play in either. That weather, the humidity. Raquel slipping his way down to the 36. A nice return off of a 47-yard punt. The Cougars lead 56-28 when we come back.
Take a walk in Iverson's shoes. Reebok I3 Playoff Low at Foot Locker.
There's some profoundly evil people walking the streets right now. I don't handicap myself with rules.
You ain't no police. Now step up.
It can't be like this.
I'm the police. King Kong ain't got nothing on me.
You never know. That's the point.
Training Day. Rated R. Starts September 21st.
This school supply thing.
I know, but until the school budget catches up, I really don't see any other way.
It's just really starting to add up.
The kids really need those supplies.
In an effort to help local schools, Office Depot is crediting 5% of your back-to-school purchase to the school of your choice. Office Depot, helping schools take care of business.
College football Saturday kicks off as the defending national champs look to keep their unbeaten streak alive. North Carolina, Oklahoma, 7:45 Saturday on ESPN.
56-28, the Cougars leading the Green Wave, and they are having their way with Tulane so far. 1st down and 10 for the Cougars at Tulane's 36-yard line. Doman still in at quarterback. Hands it off to McDonald to Ashford. He rambles down to the 30-yard line. Picks up about 6 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 4 to go. Wilkerson checks into the game, the speedy receiver.
Hey, I'm sorry to be distracted, but Lavelle Edwards just walked into our booth.
Hey, holding court just a few moments ago.
Man, oh man.
Downstairs.
Coach, thanks for coming by.
A very regal presence.
I'll say. Nice man, too.
2nd down and 4. Little counter gap. McDonald Ashford didn't get anywhere. Brought down to the 33. Bocher making the play.
It's a nice play to come upfield and drop him. You know, one of the things that's happened as we've mentioned ad nauseum is the number of tackles that have been missed. I see Boger get up the field and drop McDonald Ashford.
3rd down and long. 3rd and 7 to go. BYU has converted on all 5 of their 3rd down opportunities so far today. Incomplete, broken up, no flag on the play.
That's great coverage.
Adrian Mitchell, the free safety, came in and knocked it away. He was Tulane's leading returning tackler this year.
And Mitchell does a nice job of reading the eyes. Doman did a poor job of looking him off. He's looking right at him. There he comes right from the middle. That's a great job by Mitchell. Gets right in front. There's no way you can call that interference. He's going for the football. Number 14 being aggressive. Excellent play.
Had 2 picks last year in 2000. Played in all 11 of their games, starting the last 5. In to attempt a field goal now is Matt Payne. Very accurate, coach says, from up to 45 yards, and this one is exactly, well, 50. Got enough leg, but he hooked it off to the left. Matt Payne misses his first field goal attempt of the 2001 season. As for head coach Gary Crowton, you know, he talked about his experience back at Louisiana Tech and how he was nervous at halftime of his first game there.
Well, the first game as a head coach when I was at Louisiana Tech, I was so exhausted at halftime I had to lay down because I just making sure everything was the way I wanted it, running around and all that energy, and then all of a sudden I hit in the game. It's like I hit a wall. And I thought, oh my goodness. So I went down, none of the coaches knew where I was, and I went into my office and I laid down, I tried to take some deep breaths and relax, and then we won the game, came out and won the game, nobody knew.
Well, things going pretty much according to schedule here for him so far. I don't think he had to lay down, Todd, for this one.
No, he was probably so excited and jazzed by what had happened that he had plenty of time to go over and congratulate people. But to his credit, you know, you keep the headphones on and you still keep coaching. You still stay intense because you don't know what's going to happen in their different scenarios. For instance, people at home might say, why are you trying a 50-yard field goal? You want to get your kicker some confidence, even though you're up 4 touchdowns.
2nd down and 1 for the Green Wave. Moore. They strung it out and brought him down about a yard behind the line of scrimmage. Paul Walkenhorst, the 6'5" sophomore, who made a big play defensively early in the game with a pick.
Well, Weldon Moore breaks a lot of tackles, but when you go chest first into somebody who's 6'5", 255, you're going to come out second best. And Walkenhorst, they're so impressed with him, his ability to pick up what they need to do defensively, as well as being a physical specimen. He's a very sharp young man.
3rd down and short, 1 to go. Ramsey gets the first down for Tulane.
This is a very difficult situation for Ramsey. We talked about how he had been knocked around in the first half. But when you're down 4 touchdowns, I think that Selfo does a nice job here of mixing things up for him. You can't just keep fading back or you're really going to get banged.
Ramsey to pass, and it's batted down at the line of scrimmage. Well, folks, tonight at 7:45 Eastern Time on ESPN, it's the 2001 Hispanic College Fund Classic. North Carolina against the defending champs from Oklahoma at 7:45 Eastern Time. For more, log on to ESPN.com.
You know, a lot of people forget that, you know, Michael Vick, first pick of the draft, he wasn't even All-State in Virginia. Guess who was?
Ronald
you know that.
Curry.
Quarterback for North Carolina.
A good basketball player, too. By number 4, Gerardo Guilford. on the receiver on that play, number 86, Xander Robinson.
Whew. But to his credit, he hangs on. And Robinson's shaken up a little bit, but big deal. That's an okay hit, but you get the first down. I remember in the old days when I was playing and a guy would whack me like that, and ooh, everybody oohs, then he straddles you and does that whole machismo thing, and guess what? I caught the ball, and the guy's pointing his arm in the direction of the first down. Great job by Robinson hanging on.
First down and 10. Moore out of the backfield. He's got some room. What a move! Moore down to the 19-yard line. Guilford pushed him out of bounds.
Made a nice
tackle on him.
I was going to say, made a nice move on Guilford in the open field to get past him. Again, you know, we're talking about Moore's skills, and at this point, even though the game is out of reach, I'm thinking to myself, and it's easy to second guess, why didn't they get the ball in the hands of this young man a little bit more earlier in the game? I like what he can do. Catches the ball, nice runner. Great addition to the Green Wave offense.
Got to get that offense on the field a little more. First down and 10. Moore again. Couldn't break that tackle, though, and a good one by Enna.
Enna does a terrific job because he got cut at the legs, and he was actually on the ground when the drop play started. He gets off the ground and tackles Moore in the middle of the field. Number 55 is the linchpin for that defense for Brigham Young University, the one that calls the signals. And he is somebody, despite the fact that maybe he doesn't run the 4.6 or 4.5 and he puts on the shorts, he does a great job going sideline to sideline.
Second down and 6 for the Green Wave. They come on the blitz, BYU does, and pass is incomplete. Number 83, Carl Davis, one of the surprises of their training camp.
Well, I'm sorry, Mark. The Selfo brothers can afford the luxury now. This is 4-down territory inside the 20.
Yeah.
So they could even run here on 3rd down, which normally would be an obvious passing down. But I guess with empty backfield, that's not likely.
3rd and 6. They go with the trips right formation. Come back to the short side of the field. Narcisse almost made the catch. Aaron Francisco, the true freshman, making the start in on the coverage there.
Well, one of the things that he did is that he guessed wrong. He anticipates just a little bit wrong. He thinks he's going to go for the interception. Watch the left of your screen. Watch number 33. He attempts it, goes over the hands. He does get just a little bit of a piece. Right there, you can see it alters the flow of the ball. Nonetheless, that would have been a pretty good catch.
4th down, 6 to go. You mentioned it, Todd. It's 4-down territory. Ramsey wide open, Moore, and he'll score. To the offense's credit, they've kept playing football.
They have. And Brigham Young, in that case, decided to go all out. They came with 6. And in effect, that's what my buddy Matt Millen used to refer to as a self-check, meaning that the receiver that comes out self-check, that means he's not going to get the ball. Well, in this case, he did, and there's absolutely nobody there in coverage.
A few fans making the trip from New Orleans, obviously, right there. Yeah, the fact that BYU has scored 56 points, overshadowing the fact that Tulane's offense, just as a group by themselves, has done pretty well today.
Yeah, on the one hand, you know, everybody will make a big fuss over what the offense has done for Brigham Young, but clearly their defense has some work to do.
Put the ball in Muelby Moore's hands, and magic always seems to happen. There's an offense that can score a lot of points in a hurry. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
It's your choice.
Only $99 down.
And $99 a month.
Only at the big Ford store.
Right now at Vancouver Ford, just $99 down and $99 a month buys you a brand new Ford Ranger or a brand new Ford Focus. Take your choice of over 30 Ford Focuses or 80 new Rangers, starting at only $99 down and $99 a month.
That's all it takes.
Only $99 down and $99 a month.
Southwest Washington's biggest Ford store, Vancouver Ford.
The big Ford store.
SR 500 and Andreessen.
Summer's here, and there's no better time to get in shape. Well, now you can with Fitness Made Simple's Summer Meltdown Special. Melt that fat away with our 2 best-selling videos, Fitness Made Simple and 6-Pack Abs, hosted by fitness celebrity John Bastow.
The exercise routine, what to eat, it's all in these tapes.
I look like that 3 weeks before starting Fitness Made Simple. And this is me now.
Sold separately, each of these videos cost $29.95, but now you can get them both for $29.95. Order now to get this audio tape on the supplements free.
College College Football Saturday kicks off on ESPN. The Tar Heel attack, led by Ronald Curry, blasts into Oklahoma, where All-American Rocky Kalmus and the defending national champs look to keep their unbeaten streak alive. He got it! Touchdown! The Sooners' road to repeat begins with a Saturday night special in Norman. North Carolina battles Oklahoma at 7:45. It all starts at 7 with College Game Day, presented by Discover Card, tonight on ESPN.
56-35 here in Provo, Utah, at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. I'm Mark Jones, along with Todd Christensen and Dave Ryan down on the sidelines in the Black Coaches Association Classic. A lot of points up on the board. Offense, the order of the day in this Gary Crowton's debut as head coach. Out of bounds at the 2. Let's go downstairs to Dave Ryan with a special guest.
Yeah, Mark, continuing with the BCA theme today, Jamal Willis is the all-time leading rusher of BYU history. Also just the second ever in the state of Utah's history, black head coach at a high school level, Payson High School. Do you feel, Jamal, as if you're a pioneer, sort of a trailblazer with this position?
Well, a little bit. I think it's a great opportunity to be selected and to get this achievement award because, I mean, Utah needs a lot of these accomplishments. And, you know, I think it's a great feat. I've been able to come here and be able to do well at BYU and to be acknowledged in the community. I think it's great for the community to come together and to, you know, help me along with this achievement.
I asked BCA President Bob Minix the same question. I'll ask you. What's the best way for more black head coaches in college football to start coming up? How do they reverse the trend?
Oh, well, I think it's just kind of putting in the time and being in the right place at the right time. I think for me, I'm in a good position right now. I'm able to coach at a high school level. I mean, granted, it's just learning. But I think if I just put my time in and the people that I've come across and known, you know, BCA, obviously, I mean, I think they could put in at least good words and, you know, to get, you know, minorities like myself, you know, to the level that, you know, I want to achieve as a college coach or, you know, even further.
All-time leading rusher here, all-time touchdown man as well. What are your memories of playing at BYU? I know Lavelle Edwards, of course, was one of your mentors, the great coach, and he steps out, and the new era with Gary Crowton starts today.
Well, I think a lot of memories that I have is just coming on the field and running for, you know, rushing and catching the ball and just the crowd. I mean, it's the energy here is just unbelievable, and I think it's great to be back. And you know, I'm happy to achieve the award that I've done today. So
great to see you. NFL played as well. The 49ers, guys, happy to be back. And Payson High School starts soon.
Yeah, Payson High School.
Good luck this year, Jamal.
Okay, thank you.
Jamal working his magic there at Payson High School. And just to the issue of minority hiring and coaching, I think, you know, Rod and Reese might have touched on it a little bit earlier in the studio. I think it's going to take a lot of courage on the part of some school presidents and athletic directors to really get in contact with the people who can identify some candidates and make the subsequent hirings. Have an injured player down on the field. That's Percy Brannon, the black-up defensive tackle. We'll be back in just a minute.
I've got 3 boys, and I've got to save time wherever I can. When I'm getting my oil changed at Walmart, it's great because it's right there. It's connected to the Walmart store, so I go shopping. What else do I do? We drop the car off, and then we scatter in all directions. Electronics, sports, toys, and usually my car is ready before I am. I totally trust these guys. I can get my car done, and then I can get all my shopping done at the same time.
Walmart Tire and Lube Express. Great service, great prices, and the world's most interesting waiting room.
Walmart just makes my life easier.
Back in Provo, Utah, at Lavelle Edwards Stadium, Percy Brannon, the player being helped off the field just a few moments ago. Time now to take a look at our AFLAC trivia question. Who was the first black head coach at an NCAA Division I-A school? Ponder that for a moment, and we'll give you the answer in just a few.
BCA Classic, we would like to thank high school fans from Provo for their
There's a look at Brannon being helped off the field.
This is one of the concerns that Coach Selfo had, and that was that when you get early in the season like this, I mean, it's great for the fans to have football this early, but in a lot of cases, maybe people aren't as prepared as they could be. And he was concerned about the injuries, you know, the injury factor. Hopefully Brannon will be all right.
2nd down and 7. Doman, great pass to Staley. Luke down to the 35. It's been that type of day for those two, Doman and Staley. A familiar refrain. 1st down, BYU.
Now you're at home saying to yourself, it's 56-35. Why is BYU still doing this sort of thing? Well, it's one of two things. One, it could be that he wants to see his offense on the field. He wants to see if they can do those plays. And the second thing, at least by my mindset, would be to make sure that the teams in the future have to look at that on film and know that that's part of their package.
There you go, 56-35. And remember that the BCA has taken out margin of victory as a variable this year, or at least lessened its importance in the whole calculation in the standings. Brandon Rotmeyer making the tackle on Staley on that play.
Well, I think that maybe their thinking here is that Tulane scored. Now they're within 3 scores, because I would have thought at this point that they would have had some substitutions, but they haven't. Their first team offensive line is still in, and the first group is there. So
no rest for the weary either if you're Tulane, because next week, of course, the game of the season, perhaps, albeit early in the season, against LSU, their crosstown rivals. Second down and 7 for the Cougars. Split wide. Option. McDonald Ashford. Nice move. Down to the 19-yard line. First down, Cougars. I'm not sure that the people who came to watch this game today and watch Crowton's offense develop expected the proficiency in the running game like this.
No, you're right. And again, credit has to go to the offensive line. Here's Doman once again doing a great job putting it right in his hands. And right here, this is a nice move. Cuts back against the grain. Has Mitchell flailing in air. I want to make a point, though, with regards to LSU that you pointed out. Even though Tulane is having a bad day today, they are experiencing game speed.
You only get in games, of course.
And what I mean by that, obviously, is that in experiencing a game already, I think that will be an advantage going into the LSU game, since this will be LSU's first time around.
Getting an early start. Next week, it's LSU. Nick Saban got those guys all ready to go. First meeting in 5 years. It's interesting the way that Tulane found out that they were going to be participating in this game. Had to cut a few plans short to get to work. Less than 6 minutes to play now in the third period. Doman still pitching and still finding his receivers. Not quite in was number 86, Doug Jolly. Brought down by Barnes.
And Doug's got to be frustrated because the other 2 tight ends that we mentioned had already gotten into the end zone. So he was really struggling to get in there, too. So all 3 of them would say they had 6s.
He'll hear about it, too.
Now check him out, though. He's look at him. He's looking at the replay board. No, wait, wasn't I in? Ah, nuts. Terrific athlete, Jolly, former quarterback in high school. Came here as a walk-on, established himself as a quality tight end, somebody that has a chance to play on Sundays.
First down and goal. Doman 24 of 29, a picture of accuracy today. Donald Ashford, touchdown Cougars. The Tulane defense rendered almost defenseless at this point.
They're fatigued, and you're right. They just spent too much time on the field. And one of the things that you look at, and this is, I'm sure that the cognoscenti of Tulane has thought about this, when you go with the no huddle offensively, just like the old days, remember with Buffalo, the defense is going to spend a lot of time on the field.
Yep.
And when you don't have a quality defense, which certainly at this point of the season you have to say Tulane does not, that puts that much more pressure on them.
Payne's extra point is good. And BYU increases its lead. Well, earlier we asked you in our Aflac trivia question, who was the first black head coach in NCAA Division I football? There's the question. The answer? Willie Jeffries, Wichita State, back in '79. And with any luck in the future, you know what? It might not be in a better world such an issue. We won't be counting the numbers, but celebrating rather. Well, BYU in the shade today, and it is, well, their offense hasn't been shady. They've run up and down the field, 63-35.
Well, on the other side, though, I can't imagine that even though this is in the 90s, having been to New Orleans a time or two in my life, That's a tough place to work out. So I don't think it's a matter of conditioning with Tulane. I just think that BYU today is bigger and stronger. 1,000 yards of total offense with 5:43 remaining in the third quarter.
633 for the leaders, BYU. Gary Crowton taking more of a hands-on approach with his team as compared to Lavelle Edwards. And early returns seem to be working for the Cougars. Going out to the 22-yard line. Wonder how much longer we'll see Ramsey.
That's a good point.
Folks, Sunday Night Baseball presented by Nextel comes your way tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 Pacific. Can anybody derail the Barry Bonds Express? The meter's still running at 55 right now as the Giants take on the Mets tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific.
One of the obvious things that I've noted with regards to Bonds, and I'm sure you've noticed this too, that if you have old baseball cards of Barry Bonds, you look and you see, you know, 6'2", 195, 6'2", 185, you know, 200. I noticed that this year in the program he's listed at 228.
Wow.
So there's a little more, you know, a little more pop in his bat, or as a really good friend of mine, a brilliant broadcaster would say, a lot more funk in his trunk.
Oh, it's funky, all right.
But you know what? How exciting it must be. You know, Barry plays it off to the team and everything else as we see the numbers by Moore, which are tremendous. 10 yards a carry, rushing. To have a chance at history.
This little Statue of Liberty play looking type thing there. Moore running it. Back to Barry Bonds, just real quick. You are allowed to walk people still in baseball, aren't you? Well, I say walk him.
Well, I understand. But you know what? My son has a poster in his room, and I looked at it. McGuire, the year he hit 70, he walked 162 times, and that's what Barry's on pace for. But if you're a pitcher, I want the satisfaction. I want to see if I want to get this guy out. And it's not like all the teams are going to be playing her in the pennant race either, right?
Yeah.
No offense.
Good point. It's tomorrow, Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Nextel. Anna making the tackle that time on the play. Moore has put in a good day's work for that Tulane offense.
He has. He has. Almost 250 yards total offense by himself. You know, this is a lot harder day than standing in the outfield and getting 4 ABs for Idaho Falls. I know that.
Yeah, played baseball in the San Diego Padres farm system, batted .236 with a home run and 5 RBI. Tough hitting that breaking ball, though.
Baseball's harder than football.
Ramsey up top, incomplete. Good coverage by Gennaro Guilford. Guilford is the player they look at being the key in the secondary in terms of being able to shut down half of the field, de-awning somebody.
Exactly right. That's very apt. Number 4, Guilford is the guy. He actually has pretty much the same dimensions, about 6'1", 6'2", 190, very long-legged. Does a great job up front in chucking people. Runs extremely well. They missed him last year in his redshirt year. They could have used him.
3rd down and 8 for the Green Wave. Ramsey, incomplete, knocked away nicely. Walkenhorst again came around, reached around, and knocked it away.
For a guy that's 6'5" and 250, you know, you get used to what somebody body types do, don't you, Mark? I mean, and 6'5", 250 shouldn't be able to reach up and make those nice interceptions, or this is a great athletic play. He reaches around the receiver and without interfering, and once again, as we see Ramsey getting dropped, is able to make the play in the middle of the field. Watch him trail Harris right here. Look at that. Right at the last, gets his hands on. Well, that's a nice play.
The whole issue of their linebackers being able to cover today really has worked out in their favor, you would think. It seems that way anyway.
Well, early on it wasn't that way, but they certainly recovered.
Marcel with a nice high punt, flags down.
Halo rule, first one of the year.
You must give the punt return man 2 yards to catch the ball.
Now, with that in mind, when should you ever have a fair catch? Seriously.
Yeah, that's a good point. You shouldn't have to call it.
You know, be like,
theoretically, you shouldn't have to call one.
Implement the Canadian rules thing. Got to do it. I'm sorry.
I've seen that.
I was going to say, I got in your area of expertise. I'm sorry.
It's 5 yards up there.
They mark it off to the 55. Oh, no, wait.
They got rid of it here. I don't know what happened.
Truly, I'm surprised here. I'm looking at Brandon Doman still going out at the score 63-35. And again, I'm not going to second guess Gary Crowton because it seems like every decision he's made has been right.
One more look at that penalty.
Well, clearly you can see here that Quentin Brown was a little bit too close. And to Rigel's credit, he understands the rule too. So if the guy whacks him, that's actually a pretty good catch with the guy right in your chest like that. Rigel's had a nice day returning kicks, although he has dropped the ball twice.
Sometimes do you think special teams players intentionally violate that zone and nail somebody to deliver a message? Is it worth it? Have you seen that happen? Does it happen?
The problem with that is that if you do it and you injure the player, then you run the risk, particularly at the next level, of being fined. And I tell you what, in the NFL, they're serious now. Did you see that hit the other night, the guy for the Broncos?
Yeah.
I mean, that seemed to me like a legitimate hit, and he's fined $24K. I mean, I know you can afford it, but I know I can't. Look at that lavish Miami lifestyle you're living. Poor old me, trying to keep up the payments on my rolls. Come on.
Your kids, and your kids are on scholarship. Huh?
That's right. Thank you very much, son.
First down and 10 from the 27-yard line for the Cougars. 3:49 to play in the third quarter. Mark Jones, Todd Christensen, and Dave Ryan down to the sidelines. The Black Coaches Association Classic. More whistles down in the field.
Well, evidently the setting wasn't right. I think, you know what? I think they did give him 10 yards, and you said 5. So, official needs to pay attention.
There you go.
Well.
Moving back to the 22 now. Little ace formation, 2 tights and 2 wides, and it's Ashford up the middle. Near the 30, brought down by Bogan.
Very observant, the 2 tight end set. That would indicate that they're going to run the ball a little bit more here. But again, I am surprised still that Doman's in the ball game.
Peterson, the backup, Charlie Peterson, the 6'1" senior.
And he had a couple of moments last year. Had a 300-yard game, as I recall.
And they're talking about perhaps redshirting the third-string quarterback Engelman.
I think that's a possibility.
Second down and 3. Quick 2-step drop, and Junior Mahi makes it out to the 31-yard line. Elpage making the tackle.
That play is certainly effective, but you have to have the receiver in front of you. And when you go with the 2 tight end offenses they've been doing, there's nobody out there. As we see Charlie Peterson, I'm guessing he's going to be warming up soon enough. And of course, if you're Charlie Peterson, you say, come on, come on.
Oh, it's got to be his time.
I want to get some numbers.
Peterson, pretty much the same height and build. He's 6'1", 198 to 6'1", 195 for Doman. Doman hands it off this time to McDonald Ashford, running over the right side. Gets the first down at the 35-yard line. Jay Ashton making the stop for Tulane. Now, you've said that you've seen a few more formations out of this Crowton offense as opposed to Lavelle Edwards.
Well, I think that one of the things that I found interesting is that they've been able to do a few more things, some different wrinkles to it. You didn't see a lot of the slip screens that they do here, and some of the funky plays like the tight end running the other direction, things of that nature. And again, Crowton has a reputation, and that's what Chris Selfel told us yesterday. He says, you never know what to expect.
Put enough air under the ball, but a little bit too much intended for Mai, and it's incomplete. Nice little timing pattern there. It'll be second down and 10 to go.
And I'm thinking the opposing coaches that are watching this are saying to themselves, is this guy emptying the cupboard or what? But he isn't, because this guy has a very fertile offensive mind. Very creative.
Former offensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears. Prior to that was at Louisiana Tech as its head coach. Making a successful debut as head man here at BYU in his first game. Doman on the waggle. Not afraid to run it. Almost lost the handle and got it back. Brought down at the 45, right at the first down marker. Quentin Brown making the tackle for Tulane.
Well, again, with the misdirection, he had the 2 tight ends down the field, but Tulane was not fooled by the play action. And so Doman right here realizes that. He tucks it under and takes off. Needs to take better care of the ball. The ball almost comes out. Very fortunate. As again, BYU has been extremely fortunate all day. I can't think of a single bounce that hasn't gone their way.
Todd, have we seen the last of the tall 6'4", 6'5", long, lanky, classic drop back passer here at BYU? We talked a little bit about that yesterday.
Well,
different type here now.
I think it depends on what you can do. If there's a Patrick Ramsey out there, I'd certainly recruit him, even if he's not as mobile.
Speaking of mobility, Doman's tested on that play, brought down by Dorsey. But it's about your quarterback in this day and age being able to make plays by any means necessary.
Well, of course, everybody, because of Dante Culpepper and Donovan McNabb, everybody looks for that, and I understand that. You're right. That's what everybody wants. But those guys are not in abundance now. Not everybody, you know, the 6'4", 250 that can run 4.6, they're not all out there. You can throw the ball 80 yards. And so it depends on somebody that can execute. As Gary Crowton, he told me this in a conversation he had with Lavelle Edwards about that very thing. And his response was quite simple. I got to have somebody that can move the sticks.
There you go. Simple as that. Aaron Edmonds, meanwhile, with his first punt of the day for the Cougars. And it's a great one. Coffin corner nails it down to the 6-yard line. He made his first one count. A 50-yard punt, but more importantly, puts it inside the 20. Doman, meanwhile, has had a perfect day, near perfect day.
Well, again, he shows it both with the run and the pass. The misdirection here, the touchdown pass to Need, wide open. Here he comes again to a tight end. This time, the great actor, Gabriel Reed, sits in the pocket. Gets very fortunate there with the tip, and Need is the beneficiary of that largesse. You're absolutely right. I mean, when you said everything seems to be going his way, the bounces right here, he gets tackled, he leans forward, they give him the touchdown. Great day for Doman.
His counterpart Ramsey is still in the game, handing off to Moore. And Moore makes it out to the 18-yard line. Close to a first down. Actually, should be good enough for a first down. Dustin Staley, Luke's brother, making the tackle on the play. 18 seconds to play in the third. They had said, Tulane did, and Coach Selfo and his brother Frank, the offensive coordinator, they wanted to rush for about 150 yards a game, and they figured that would put them in good standing. Well, they've about done that, but because of defensive shortcomings today, the scoreboard is telling a bad tune for them.
It is.
As the clock ends on the third period of play, Patrick Ramsey still looking for some answers. And it's a matter of time right now. They're not booing, folks. It's Luke. We'll be back for the fourth period right after this.
You have a new baby girl. It's all about her. You're a bit overprotective and proud of it. Your home is now her home. Like we said, it's all about her. Life's an ongoing project. Ace.
Ron?
Yeah.
Didn't I tell you to use gum out?
I know.
We've been through this before. Look,
Do you hear something?
gum out fuel additives unclog fuel injectors to help reduce hesitation.
Give you the engine performance you need to take on anything.
It won't happen next time.
Good, because I don't want to go through this again.
Big stuff is going on here at 7-Eleven. It's the new Big Sub Combo. Choose an Italian Big Sub sandwich. 3 kinds of meat and provolone cheese. Or smoked turkey with Swiss. Plus a big gulp and a big grab of chips. It's a bigger, better summer.
Excuse me? Dude, wake up. Hello? Yoo-hoo!
Just a reminder, Wendy's pickup window's open late, so you can get a classic half-pound double with cheese made fresh.
Forget something?
And eat great, even late.
Oh, he's so busted.
Not okay. I wanted my steak medium well.
He's got issues.
Hello. Let me check.
Nice pants. These things are amazing.
Introducing Dockers Mobile Pen.
When I told my agent I was playing fantasy sports, he got the wrong idea.
I like it. Enjoy the show.
I would never do that. My fantasy league, unlike sports, is just good fun. I get the latest scores, player stats, even breaking news.
Whatever you're into, dig into it deeper, unlike us.
Welcome back for the fourth quarter. The Green Wave handing it off and not finding much success. Isaac Kelly stuffing the hole on Moore. And put his helmet right into the solar plexus. Ouch.
I'm thinking that that's the young man that'll be in the tub tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
After that long plane flight back to New Orleans. He will have earned it, however. He's been terrific today.
Second down and 8 for Tulane. Pass incomplete, intended for Roydell Williams. A little bit short. Through three quarters, a look at the numbers, and Tulane, boy, a lot of yards, but unfortunately the defense hasn't been able to slow down BYU's offensive juggernaut.
You know, you had mentioned earlier how deceptive that was, because if you just looked at the offensive side of the ball, you say, wait a minute, look at that. Yep. Almost 500 yards, you know, 450 odd total yardage, 35 points. We've done well. And that's usually a winning combination, isn't it? Obviously, there's some defensive problems.
Narcisse in motion on third down and long. They run the ball. Isaac Kelly making the stop on the play again.
That hesitation's interesting. I enjoy that, and I think one of the reasons for it is it gives the linebackers a longer time to get back in their drop. But Kelly had more man-for-man in coverage, and so he has his eyes right on him, and he's able to drop him.
Brought down Richard. Miguel back to get the punt. On fourth down and 7, Casey Roussel, the 6'1" senior, in to kick it. Miguel at the 30. Got an alley. And brought down to the 47-yard line. A low line drive, 50-yard punt. And a nice return by Rigel. We'll be back right after this.
Nando Mania, coming August 28th, only on ESPN Classic.
Un avion! Un avion! Un avion! C'est là! C'est là!
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light.
Sushi.
Revenge fueled him.
He's the most dangerous kind of man. He wants to be a musketeer.
Love inspired him.
I'm coming back for you.
Honor drove him.
What you do is most important for France.
I will kill him.
The story is legend.
All for one!
But the adventure is just beginning. The Musketeer, rated PG-13. At theaters Friday, September 7th.
People do some strange things to cars. But Carfax can give you the real history of any used car, and that could save you thousands. Go to Carfax.com or your dealer for a Carfax report. Don't buy a used car without Carfax.
Hey, this is Carrot Top reminding you, if you're going to make a collect call, pick up the phone and dial 1-800-CALLATT.
1-800-CALLATT.
Nice job, Carrot Stick.
Save big bucks on every call. Dial 1-800-CALLATT for collect calls.
Can I have your number?
ESPN2's presentation of college football is brought to you by Carfax. They'll give you the real history on any used car. CARFAX.com. And by the all-new 2-Minute Drill. Play along in the ultimate sports quiz show Tuesdays on ESPN.
A look at just one part of the incredibly breathtaking elements of the landscape here in Provo, Utah. Look at the Wasatch Mountains in the backdrop. First down and 10. And the picture is all good on the field for BYU. A new quarterback in the ball game. It's Charlie Peterson, who hands it off to McDonald Ashford. Last year, Peterson played in 8 games. Completed a little over 57% of his passes, 6 touchdown passes in the process, 5 interceptions.
Had a great game against Utah State. That's when he threw for over 300, but had difficulty. I recall Mississippi State is the game that stands out where he really struggled, had some turnovers, and of course Mississippi State, one of the toughest defenses in the NCAA.
Jolie Dunn with that unorthodox, unconventional style defensively. Second down and 8 for Peterson now. Throws a nice out, complete. Who's that man? Get the ball to 80.
Yeah, except for, you know what, the problem now, though, and he's telling Toby something, is that he needs to kill his average.
Folks, don't forget the NFL Tonight will not be airing tonight at its regular time. Instead, it will air tonight at 1 a.m. 1 a.m. Eastern Time. That's the NFL Tonight.
Yeah, he had 1 for 28. Now it's 2 for 33.
Pad those stats. Complete. Rigel flagged down, though, at the 32-yard line. Justin Anderson trying to make a block, and the officials might have put the finger on him for the infraction.
I think you're right.
And this one will come back. Let's go downstairs to Dave Ryan.
Well, Mark, yesterday you noticed that BYU defensive coordinator Ken Schmidt is wearing a watch from the 1998 Liberty Bowl. Now, it's not uncommon for bowl games to give players and coaches watches, but remember, Ken Schmidt has coached in 17 bowl games. The watch he's wearing represents the first and only prior meeting of Tulane and BYU, the Liberty Bowl game won by the Green Wave for that perfect 12-0 year. I asked him before the game why you're wearing it. He said, well, I want to remind myself of how bad that feeling was after losing. One other note, guys, Gary Crowton's last college game as a head coach at Louisiana Tech was that year, 63-30. Who'd they lose to? Tulane.
The tangled web we weave. Huh?
that's some interesting symmetry.
Wonderful, Dave.
Yeah,
like
well
that.
done.
63-35, and of course, after coach looks at his watch, he gets the reminder.
And those games were all on Saturday too, I think.
Get a timeout down in the field, and Coach Crowton loving this in his debut as head coach for BYU. We'll be right back.
Sorrel Fowler owns a Hyundai Accent.
I love the Accent. It's so cool looking.
Sorrel compared the Accent to the competition.
I researched it on the internet.
It comes with the freedom of America's best warranty and so many features. It's no wonder the Accent has become the best-selling car in its class.
You get a lot for your money.
The Hyundai Accent, at just $8,994, it could be the best choice for you too. The Hyundai Accent, at just $8,994. Your test drive is waiting.
The Blue Book shows the fair market value of used cars. It's how dealers set their prices. But I don't want to pay that much. And you shouldn't either. So right now at the new Community Chevrolet, we're cutting prices in half. Buy any of these used cars and trucks and pay just half of retail Blue Book. Only at Community Chevrolet. We will never, ever be undersold.
They are the same. Community Chevy of St. John's.
College football Saturday kicks off as the defending national champs look to keep their unbeaten streak alive. North Carolina, Oklahoma, 7:45 Saturday on ESPN.
I'd like a latte, please.
Do you have an appointment? Grab the ticket. We'll be with you in just a minute. Yeah.
Coffee houses are popular. Very popular. Well, what if you just want coffee house style coffee in an instant? Folgers Cafe Latte. Rich, creamy, delicious coffee house coffee without the coffee house. So it's not the coffee you drink to take a break from your day. It's the coffee you drink to break into it. Folgers Cafe Latte.
Magazine? Book? Anybody?
Well, folks, so far BYU racking up 668 yards of total offense, approaching a team record set against New Mexico back in 1983. That record 777. A little over 100 yards shy so far. Peterson at the trigger at quarterback. He has all day and then some. He can run a little bit too. down to the 38-yard line. And some big stuff coming up a little later on ESPN. Let's go downstairs to Dave.
Guys, that's right. ESPN2 has got the international championship game in the Netherlands Antilles against Japan. From South Williamsport, Brett Musburger, Earl Hershiser, Harold Reynolds, Leslie Goodell have the call. Just there, had a chance to watch both of those teams. Going to be a good contest. The Netherlands Antilles team likes to bunt and run, if you can believe that in Little League Baseball. Very aggressive team on the base paths. Japan has got the good pitching staff. They will not play the Bronx in the final. The Bronx lost today to Apopka, Florida. World Championship, ABC Sports, 6:30 Eastern tomorrow night.
Oh, no.
Wow.
No Danny Almonte.
Not in the final, anyway. What a great run they had, though. McDonald Ashford with a few great runs today as well, down to the 27-yard line. Finally tripped up by Elpage.
If Elpage doesn't get him, he's gone. It's for the rest of the Mountain West Conference coaches, they have to be a little bit frightened of this 1-2 punch that BYU has in the backfield with Staley and McDonald Ashford.
Crowton taking advantage of all the weapons at his disposal, running, passing. Each tight end has done well today. Junior Mai's done well today. It is a balanced offensive attack. Peterson hands it off to McDonald Ashford again. This time stopped up at the 27-yard line. Clock running with 11:25 to play in the fourth period.
This is interesting. It's indicative of what we were talking about earlier in terms of multiple sets. BYU had as many as 5 wide receivers out on the field. Now they're going with their it's referred to, I refer to it as jumbo, others refer to it as tight blue. There are a number of names for it, but they're 3 tight end set here, determined to run the ball effectively.
A little smash mouth capability here, and they hand it off to McDonald Ashford again, trying to get to the perimeter. Instead cuts it back inside and brought down at the 23-yard line. It'll be
McDonald Ashford on the carry.
Second down and about 7 to go. Bracey making the stop on the play.
Bracey, number 6 for Tulane.
Still good. I was going to say still good pursuit in the secondary. You see the BYU record there that you mentioned earlier. 82 yards. Yeah, 10 minutes remaining. It's well within the realm of possibility.
This time the Cougars coming out in a trips left formation. 3rd down and 7. Run it into the boundary. McDonald Ashford needs 1 block. And he's brought down at the 5-yard line by Adrian Mitchell.
And the 1 block that you mentioned, Spencer Need, the tight end, was downfield, and I really thought that he was going to get the block, but he couldn't quite decide whether to block the guy in the front. Watch the top of your screen. You're going to see number 89 come downfield for BYU. Not quite sure what to do. Excuse me, that was Doug Jolly. Was he going to get in his way? Was he going to hit him? He couldn't quite make a decision. He hustles down the field. Once again, a great job by the quarterback pitching. Wide open. Jolly didn't quite stay with him long enough, and the result is a down at the 5.
BYU, the home of the option, the cradle of the option quarterback. Hey, it's got a ring to it, Todd. McDonald Ashford again.
No, it doesn't.
Elpage making the tackle.
But I'm sure the number of people that have been here for many years watching BYU football, the first time Brandon Doman came down the line said, "What? I'm sorry, what is that?" Hadn't seen that in quite a while.
Mark Jones, Todd Christensen, Dave Ryan down at the sidelines. 9:40 to play in the fourth period. It has been all BYU since the latter stages of the second period. Ashford, meanwhile, has run for over 100 yards now. Vita running at 103 and then some here. Touchdown Cougars. McDonald Ashford. Very methodical, very efficient, and very good results for the offense. Cougar fans got what they wanted today. Seeing what they wanted to see. Feeling what they wanted to feel. We'll be back right after this.
People rave about the fun they had. All the good days and friendly faces. And good times all around. And you wonder, did they just take a vacation? Or just get back from dinner? A great night out that feels like a holiday. Outback Steakhouse. No rules, just right.
Question about DirecTV?
Yeah, I hear this thing hits like an insane amount of sports channels. That's what I want, sports 24/7.
Hey, hon. What's up?
You're absolutely right, sir. With DirecTV, you and your family can enjoy wonderful educational channels together.
Here's the pitch. I'll let you guys talk.
We know how you feel, and that's why we're here, Circuit City. We're with you.
Educational? Really?
Yeah.
Tonight, it's the International Little League World Series Championship. The winner faces the United States to determine the Little League World Series champion. The Little League World Series presented by Honda, Netherlands Antilles versus Japan. 8 o'clock tonight on ESPN2.
You're not the game day band, guys.
College Game Day, presented by Discover Card, Saturday mornings at 10:30 on ESPN.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Black Coaches Association Classic, the 5th edition, and this one has been colored all blue for BYU. They lead 70-35. I'm Mark Jones, along with Todd Christensen and Dave Ryan. And man, Gary Crowton has seen, you would think, everything he wanted to see today in terms of the results. Kick bobble down at the 18-yard line. And that's where Tulane will start off. And you have to wonder, how long is Ramsey going to stay in at quarterback, if at all?
Very good question. And of course, he had a quality backup in J.P. Losman last year. I'm surprised that we haven't seen him. Maybe we will here.
Ask Gary Crowton about the differences and when he first knew that he was back in the college football ranks as opposed to the NFL with the Chicago Bears last year. He said, yeah, start worrying about grades again.
That's right. And the other thing is that he mentioned that he wasn't in one spot the whole day.
Right.
He said that in the pros, everybody brought lunch to him, they brought film to him, they brought everything, and he was there all day. So in college, he gets to move around.
Ramsey not able to move around, sacked back at 13 by Ayu.
C.J. Ayu's father, Charlie, was a college football teammate of mine, and maybe a little bit more famous for those of you that are hardcore football fans to remember his uncle, Junior, who was a star at Arizona State and then later with the Montreal Alouettes.
Great defensive lineman. 2nd down and 16. The flanker screen complete. Roy Dell Williams still on his feet out to the 28 that time.
Now, what, just sake of argument, what's your thinking here in terms of why Ramsey's still in the game?
Don't know. Couldn't answer that one, partner.
Well,
Ramsey
speculate. What do you think?
He's been hit a lot today. I know that. And, you know, maybe the thinking would be to find out some more things about the offense looking forward to next week in LSU. But
you run the risk of this guy.
That's the flip side.
Because you know everybody's teeing off on him here. They're not playing the run at all.
Yeah. And that's one of their main assets carrying the ball right now. Moore, who's brought down by Buchwald. Ramsey's 20 of 43 today, 263 yards passing.
Well, defensively, BYU has made a number of changes, but offensively, it appears that they have not. And you're right. Moore, he looks fatigued now. I mean, he really does. And it's hard in that first game to gauge it. You know, no matter how many workouts you do, all the running, everything else that you do, it's difficult to tell.
Toby Christensen, number 80, standing on his own 23-yard line, back to get this punt. Christensen with a nice move, weaving his way right up the middle. Brought down at the 46-yard line.
15 yards, way to go, my boy. You the man.
Papa's got a brand new bag.
You the man.
We'll be right back.
Always changing, rearranging, get into the new.
How about McDonald's new taste menu? It's something new.
Let it out from within. Take the world for a ride.
Something's different. Something's changing all the time.
Always changing, rearranging, get into the new. Oh, the new favorites just waiting for you.
McDonald's new taste menu. The place to look when you're looking for a change.
Hey, what you kids do to me?
I'd like to make a collect call.
Hey, lady, use your head. Dial 1-800-COLLECT.
Aren't all collect calls the same?
That's just jibber-jabber. 1-800-COLLECT saves at least $1 or $2.
I pity the fool who don't use 1-800-COLLECT. Me too. That's so easy.
Don't even think about it. Use your head. Dial 1-800-COLLECT.
He's exactly like his father.
It's creepy.
My folks are renovating this beach house, and I'm helping out. Feels like Christmas morning. Dad's a stickler for details.
We've got some notes on the construction.
My mom said he went on the internet for a week researching building products.
I came up with certainty.
Which is what I told him in the first place.
I don't remember that.
I told you. Hello!
Are you timing him?
Yeah, but Mickey was a lot faster.
The Little League All-Stars from Tokyo, Japan are ready to play for the International Championship against Curacao. That's coming up next on ESPN2. Back to Mark.
70-35. It's all Cougars all day long so far. 7:12 to play in the fourth quarter. Folks, don't forget, coming up in just a few minutes, it's the International Championship game at the Little League World Series in Williamsport. And we will be joining Brent Musburger for the first pitch coming up in just a few. The winner will play Apopka, Florida tomorrow in prime time on ABC. Apopka, Florida surprising the junior Bronx Bombers.
Mike Nielsen, the runner now in, third runner for BYU, getting his opportunity as they substitute freely now on offense. Why it took this long, I don't know, but there it is. Mike Nielsen, a former fullback. He's kind of a tweener, not quite Luke Staley.
What a day he's had, huh?
Yeah. Woo. He's a specimen.
Staley and McDonald Ashford together. Great two-pronged attack. Nielsen that time on the carry. Stopped up at the line of scrimmage. And like I said moments ago, coming up in just about 6 minutes now, the Little League World Series International Championship game presented by Honda. That's coming up next from Williamsport. Brent Musburger will have the call for you. It's the Netherlands Antilles against Japan.
Sometimes as broadcasters we get caught up in hyperbole. Gee, what a surprise. But I genuinely believe that that is truly one of those once-in-a-lifetime experiences. You know, I mean, people are still talking about Lloyd McClendon hit 4 home runs. He's the manager of the Pirates. And they mentioned how, you know, that had to be, what, 30 years ago or something, right? It's still a big deal. Never forget that.
Tom's River.
Yep. Sean Burroughs a couple of years ago. Remember that?
Approaching 6:20 to play. A look at the numbers. BYU approaching that 777 total yard record. Crack staff adding up 465 yards rushing alone. 465. The old record broken. About to be. Nielsen again trying to get to the corner, brought down by Elpage.
Mike
Nielsen
on the carry,
holding his leg.
Lane, number 13, Linares Elpage.
5:40 to play. A lot of different schools of thought, Todd, as to whether an early game like this in August benefits the coaching staff in terms of preparing for the season, something that we discussed with the respective coaches earlier this week. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. We're going to take a short break as Coach Gary Crowton watches his team lead still big time when we come back.
This would be a freaking shame.
One, two, three, four, five. Everybody
everybody in my Ford. Let's go for a drive.
What will you save on 5 of America's 10 best sellers during Ford's authorized clearance? Thousands. Get up to $1,500 cash back or 0-9 financing on Ford F-150. 0-9 financing can save you over $3,900 in interest on the best-selling truck in the world. You can even get $1,500 cash back or 0-9 financing on Ford Super Crew.
Oh, yeah!
And for even bigger savings, see your Northwest Ford store today.
Now through Sunday, it's Car Stereo City's 9th annual tent sale next to Mall 205. Meet factory reps from Sony, Clarion, Pioneer, Rockford Fosgate, and more. Speakers $7, car decks with speakers $17, Rockford subs $27, car alarms $37, CD players $47, remote 6-disc CD changers $87, car decks and 12-disc CD changers $137. Nokia wireless phones better than free plus $110 cash back, $100 free accessories, and 3,400 minutes of talk time from AT&T for only $39.99 per month. Hurry to Car Stereo City next to Mall 205.
Mike Nielsen being helped off the field. And don't forget, coming up in just a few, the first pitch of the Little League World Series International Championship game. In about 2.5 minutes, Brent Musburger with the call. The winner of that game will play against Apopka, Florida, the United States, in prime time on ABC tomorrow. 3rd down and 9. Backs out of the eye this time. Little or no gain on the play. Ned Stearns got back to the line of scrimmage. Algier making the tackle. As we look at some of the fans on hand today, interesting to note, Todd, that the students haven't come back to school yet. That's still a couple weeks away.
September 4th is when they're back in school. Clearly, there would have been a larger crowd had they been here. But I think one of the things that's interesting, and I do believe that this is one of the variables in the thought process of Gary Crowton as well as BYU in general, is the fact that, you start off and get a win like this, or if you can get 2 wins next week against Nevada, then that fires people up, because last year there were a number of games that were not sold out. And, they want to fire up the community. And this certainly will go a long ways towards that, scoring 70 points.
Yeah, BYU, their season pretty much derailed early last year. And their traveling schedule last year was horrific.
More miles than anybody in Division 1A. And they had some injuries early on, and you're right, it became difficult for them. Clearly, this is a much more comfortable schedule for them, especially early on.
A lot of people...
delay, offense, delay, decline, 4th down.
BYU, one of the favorites in the Mountain West Conference, along with Colorado State. Of course, John Robinson making a lot of noise down there at UNLV.
Done a great job with that program.
Fourth down and 7. Aaron Edmonds with one of his few punts today. Just his second. And his first one was a coffin corner, putting Tulane down at the 7-yard line. He'll try it again. This one not quite as good as the last one. They're going to mark it right around the, he's still walking up to the 14-yard line. Don't forget, it's the International Championship game of the Little League World Series coming up in just a few from Williamsport. Right now, let's go to Brent Musburger. Brent.
The Little League World Series presents the International Championship. The Netherlands Antilles, the island of Curacao out of the Caribbean, will take on a team from Tokyo, Japan, champions of the Asia. And then the winners tomorrow night in the World Championship will take on the amazing youngsters from Apopka, Florida. Heavy underdogs against the baby Bronx Bombers. It was Apopka which showed up with the long ball. First, it was Brandon Brewer. Then it was Tyler Scanlon. And that's all that Stuart Tapley needed. He did the rest with 12 strikeouts. And the Bronx is finished. And now the Florida champions will play tonight's winners in prime time tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern on ABC. The winners from Japan, from the Kitasuna Little League in Tokyo. And they pour out onto the field. let's meet these young men who won the Caribbean, beating the Dominican Republic and those other teams down there. Here's your Band-Aid starting lineup. Let the youngsters introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Daniel Antonia. My favorite player is Andrew Jones.
Hallo, mijn naam is Alexander Matheus. Mijn favoriete player is Andrew Jones.
Hi, my name is Eric Alfer, and my favorite player is Andrew Jones.
Hallo, mijn naam is Michelangelo Trinidad. Mijn player favorito is Randall Chulo Simmons.
Hi, my name is Fransley Martina. My favorite player is Andrew Jones.
Hi, my name is Hudson Peter. My favorite player is Andrew Jones.
My name is Argenis Zal. My favorite player is Andrew Jones.
Hi, my name is Nelwick Martis. My favorite player is Andrew Jones. Hi, my name is Prince York Paulina. My favorite player is Andrew Jones.
These youngsters worship Andrew Jones, who comes from Curaçao and returns home every year after the Atlanta Braves season. Now let's meet the Tokyo, Japan team tonight. Sumabashi out in left field would like to play for the Seattle Mariners, of course, would like to join Ichiro and Suzuki. Ito is in center field. No Seattle. I want to play for the New York Yankees. And Mochizuki, the big, powerful right fielder, he wants to meet Barry Bonds, Ichiro, and Mike Piazza. Nomura, third base. Nickname is Santa Maria because there's an actor in Japan with the same first name, Usuki. And what a shortstop's name. Oh, no. And that's what it's like when you hit a ground ball to him. He'd like to meet Ichiro, too. And at second base, Yamanomi, his favorite athlete is three-time world champion sprinter Maurice Green. Tsukasawa is at first base, and he'd like to meet the big unit, Randy Johnson. Behind the plate, Suzuki. Favorite movie, Jaws.
And on the mound, Okawara. This lefty brings three basic pitches. A four-seam fastball. You can see this. He's 2-0. He's got a four-seam fastball with a 1.2 ERA. He's got a curveball, two basic Little League pitches. And then leave it to a young man from Asia to throw a screwball. Changing things up from the left side, this young man has been very, very good. His nickname is Bancho, which means leader.
There's your umpires. Prevost has the plate. Delaney, Esposito, Messick, Simons, and Bill Staines is your right field umpire tonight. They're out of Arizona, Florida, New York, New Jersey, Texas, Pennsylvania, all volunteers, of course, giving up their time, and they have done a great job, as Harold and Oral have been pointing out earlier today on ABC when Florida shocked the Baby Bronx Bombers. And now Antonia steps in to lead it off here against the Japanese left-hander, and shortening up to bunt that time. Oral.
Well, also, it's not a bad strategy off the top there because he's got the hesitation, Oral. What happens when a pitcher hesitates?
Well, if he doesn't have the momentum coming there with the bunt showing, it's going to be tough to field your position at times.
First baseman way in, and he's got a pop-up headed his way for the first out.
He stops twice.
Here's your Caribbean manager, Mark Van Zanten. Now, he's emotional just like his players. He'll get in the middle of the game. Yeah, man, he can blow a bubble. Now, that's a major league bubble right there, folks. Now, that was a big timer.
That was a bubble-licious.
That's a bubble-licious bubble. That's good. Martis, Rashindro. Yeah, the island of Curaçao, Netherland Antilles off the coast of Venezuela. Population of 160,000. Taking a strike was Martis. Great thrill for these youngsters, huh, Harold?
Tremendous. Get a chance to travel all the way around the world and play in Williamsport, PA. Can't beat it. Plus the experiences they bring, Brent. Time and time again, we get to see the character. You got the dreadlocks. They got all kinds of character going on in this team. But to see another part of the world and other cultures is tremendous.
The Japanese team very well coached. Disciplined winners out of Asia with a count of 2 balls and 1 strike.
Well, as we've watched this Japanese team here, they have been very disciplined, very sure-handed, and they will not beat themselves defensively.
Nice little hesitation before he comes to the plate. 3-1. I got to tell you, whoever wins tonight, folks, has got a chance. It's going to take a while for those Florida youngsters to come off the tremendous high that they just experienced here this afternoon, and it can be telling. You'll want to check in and see if Apopka can do it. No team from Florida has ever won the World Championship, but Apopka has a shot. 3-2.
You're absolutely right, Brent. They are sailing so high right now. To calm down some 11 and 12-year-olds, and you know they're on a sugar high because they've been killing every ice cream cone in the place.
No pizza left in Williamsport tonight. Oh, he hit him, and Martis is on.
Sit down, sit down, sit down.
So Martis, our first base runner. You're curious about where they come from. Just off the coast of Venezuela, the Netherlands Antilles, and Curaçao, home of Andrew Jones, has become a baseball hotbed. And they'll stay active in that dugout. They do bounce around a little bit over there.
Well, I think we're going to hear that cowbell in the background all night long.
Well, Rafael, the pitcher tonight for Curaçao, swings and misses. Boy, it is tough. Harold, it is tough to time a pitcher who deliberate then sweeps in like that, huh?
It really is, especially at this young age, because you've never seen it. And what you have to do, you almost have to wait until he gets to the second hesitation before you start your swing. Now you start to get your timing, move back, and go. The other stuff is just for show, but until you figure that out, you're thinking, okay, do I start here? Oh, when he breaks his hands, when he's at his knees. I mean, it can be a mess.
Okawara ahead in the count.
They were definitely going for the 0-2 waste pitch there. That was a fastball in the left-hand batter's box. But definitely good baseball strategy and a good job at this age to take such a wide target and not expect somebody to hit a very, very small place.
From umpire Cam, good view. Didn't want to miss that far that time, as the count now goes to 2-2 here. Leadoff hitter was fouled out, and the second batter hit by a pitch.
Well, I'm thinking that to hesitate like he does has really got to be difficult as a pitcher to keep your balance.
Popped up again. First baseman could have an active night. Going over is Tsukasawa. He has made both outs here in the first inning.
You're right, Harold. The balance position on the pitcher when he comes forward, the first balance, the second balance, but right here the key move is that back knee coming in. When the back knee breaks first after the second hesitation, that allows the hips to go forward. If he moves any other part of his body first, he's going to get out of whack, but he moves that back knee, it allows the lower body to work first, and then he can throw the ball properly.
Michelangelo Trinidad is now the hitter, and folks, that's probably my favorite name of this year's Little League World Series. Michelangelo Trinidad. He pitched for them the other day when they defeated Guam. That's cleanup here tonight with 2 out and a teammate on. Trinidad trying to get something going here for Curaçao.
That is a tremendous name.
Oh, it's great.
Love that.
1-1. You know, we've got Alvaro Martin down below. I wonder if he's learned how to speak Dutch. No, I think that's the language of the island down there. Netherlands Antilles, and this pitcher's outside.
You know, there's a big leaguer named Trinidad Hubbard.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's anybody named Michelangelo.
No.
Donatello.
Donatello.
All the Ninja Turtles coming out.
2-1. Oh, high and deep to center field. And Ito makes the putout. Just didn't get under it. Hit it up in the air. So Curaçao out at the top of the first inning. They failed to score, but Michelangelo put a charge in it.
All right, good hustle, good hustle. Okay, everybody's got their uniforms and schedules for this week's practice, right?
Right.
remember, our first game is next Saturday at 9 a.m. against the Cyclones.
They had us for lunch last time.
And dinner.
Yeah.
Hey, guys. Yeah, they had a good game, but we have nothing to be ashamed of. We just made some mistakes.
Yeah, we showed up for one. Remember when Pee-wee threw up all over their coach? Do you think we'll ever be any good?
Hey, if you go out there doing the best you can and don't give up, good will take care of itself. You just go out there and have some fun. Okay, now come on. Go Dukes!
Go Dukes! Go Dukes! Go Dukes! Go Dukes! Go Dukes!
It's not about winning. It's learning there are good days and bad days and putting it all behind you and bouncing back. At Honda, we're proud to be a sponsor of the great American pastime, Little League Baseball.
Baseball is America's favorite pastime, and TV Guide wants to help young girls and boys play ball. You can support Little League Baseball and get America's favorite magazine, TV Guide, for 62% off. Subscribe now, and TV Guide will donate $10 of the subscription price to Little League Baseball. You'll get a year's worth of TV Guide for just 76 cents an issue. That's 62% off the newsstand cover price. Call to support Little League Baseball and subscribe to TV Guide.
Hi, everybody. Reese Davis with you in the studio. We want to wrap up BYU and Tulane. Those of you who were enjoying that game a little bit earlier, certainly if you were BYU fans, you had to enjoy the offense. The Cougars finish off Tulane 70-35, the final. And that one, Brandon Doman with a fine game, 268 yards through the air. This is a Cougar team that just averaged about 23 points per game last year. Crowton's got the offense in high gear. So BYU wins it, doubling up Tulane. Brent, back to you in Williamsport.
So we're back at the International Championship.